Well, good afternoon and welcome to UNSW Canberra Oval, otherwise known as Manuka Oval, here in the nation's capital of Canberra for the 2018 AFL Canberra Grand Final. Big doubleheader coming up for you this afternoon. In a few minutes, it'll be the men's game. The Ainsley Tricolours and the Eastlake Demons. Later on tonight, the women's game. That's a 6 o'clock start local time. My name's Chris Coleman. Alongside me, Luke Francis. Mate, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you too, Chris. What a magnificent day we've got in the nation's capital. Just an absolute perler. Typical grand final weather, and looking forward to a superb spectacle here from the Ainsley Tricolours and the Eastlake Demons. So, yeah, we're searching for a top of 16 degrees today, Chris. And I'll tell you what, it looks like it's every bit of 16 out there at the moment.
We're pretty close to that mark. Of course, we are at, about 2:30 in the afternoon, running maybe a couple of minutes behind by the time we actually get started this afternoon. But it's a beautiful afternoon. There's not a lot of wind around today, so it doesn't get much better than this for footy. Quick tale of the tape. How did these sides get here? Well, Ainsley, they went through the season 12-3 to finish on top of the table as minor premiers in AFL Canberra. Eastlake, they've got in the hard way. They've snuck into fourth spot on the ladder and made their way through. That Ainsley side though this season, Luke, amazing. They started the season 0-3. Lost their first 3 games, and they have not tasted defeat since the 5th of May this year.
Yeah, what an effort to get here, Chris. So and finished minor premiers, didn't they? And well, Eastlake finishing fourth on the ladder. So what a journey for them. And they've made it here to the big dance. So well done. But they got one step to go before they can secure the premiership for 2018. Ainsley, on the other hand, well, they're shooting for the three-peat, aren't they? 3 in a row.
They do know what they're doing, this Ainsley Footy Club. They've been a very strong side for a very, very long time in the AFL Canberra competition and under its various names going back over the decades. The head-to-head ledger for these sides this year, it's 3 games played between them. Eastlake got the win in round 2, 76-57. In round 7, it was 85-51 to Ainsley, and in round 12, it was 86-53. We're only a moment away from getting a start here in this big one, the AFL Canberra Grand Final for 2018. The Ainsley Tricolours up against the Eastlake Demons.
So Maynard and Askew to go at it in the ruck here. Maynard for the Tricolours, Askew for the Demons. The 2018 AFL Canberra Grand Final is underway, and it's a bad bounce, so we'll have a second one. So while the players are a little nervy, so too maybe the umpires. We'll have a secondary bounce. So there's a throw up. Askew versus Maynard. Ball hits the ground. Coming through was Darcy for the Demons, and the kick has got away from Wilson. Up towards the half-forward flank for the Demons, and the ball hit the ground. Kuzna has a chance to bring it away from the Tricolours, but it's going to come straight back in, and it will through Tutty. So Tutty out wide on this occasion. The Demons with early possession. Back to Tutty now, and he's taken down, and out of the play by Camp. Pounces back on the borders, Camp, but it's turned over straight away to Hancock. Rolls inside 50. Now for the Demons. And the players are wrapped up, and the umpire says, I'll have it, Chris.
No early nerves from either side here. Probably the most nervous out there, the umpires. And we say good afternoon to Samuel Herford, Ben Izzard and Daniel Wilcox, the men with the whistles this afternoon. Ball in dispute on the 50 at the moment as we wait to see if anyone can come away with it. Pack over the top. In there is Powell looking to do something with it. Taps it towards the boundary line. Interesting, we got two players, one from each side, calling for deliberate out of bounds there. Umpire says nothing doing. We'll have a throw in outer side of the ground here. The Kingston side of the ground, if you like, at Manuka Oval, the eastern side. Ball coming back into play now. We'll see a lot of this afternoon. We'll see a lot of Maynard versus Askew. And probably the best punch of the afternoon so far to Maynard. Puts it towards the attacking end for Ainsley, but not too far. Still in dispute on the far side of the ground. And we've got a tackle over the top. No one able to get the ascendance, and the umpire says, I'll have a crack at it. Eastlake have got to play, I think they've got to play their best defensive game for the season this afternoon, Luke, to win this one. Ainsley, their attack is amazingly potent. They outscored their opponents almost by a combined tally of 2-1 across the course of the season. So they really are a very, very hard attacking side. A bit of push and shove going on over the far side. As we wait for the umpire to put the ball back into play, no one really able to assert any early authority. Umpire takes his time, tosses it back up, and it completely clears the pack. It's picked up off the ground by Lupton. Lupton then sends the ball back into disputed territory. Powell again in over the top, short hand pass. Target was Camp, it missed him, and we've got a free kick being called, I think, or has it gone back over the boundary line again? Back over the boundary line again, so really scrappy stuff over there on centre wing.
Yeah, so right over on the far side at Manuka Oval as the umpire brings the ball back into play again. Hancock. In fact, that was Henderson. Camp with it for the tricolours. And the umpire again says, I'll have it, boys, and I'll sort it out. So a few stoppages early here on grand final day. Ball bounced off the back of Henderson. Ends up with Camp now for the tricolours, and he sends it up towards the attacking area for the tricolours. But a mark is taken back there by the Demons' defence. And they stay solid on the first real challenge for them. Scrubby old kick up to centre wing on the far side again. And the ball, hello, it's a free kick here. And it's going the way of Wiles for the tricolours. The Demons players were calling for a deliberate out of bounds, but pretty fortuitous for Wiles in the end to end up with a free kick. Swings around on the left, sends it inside 50 or close to the edge of the 50 anyhow for the tricolours. Early stages of the grand final for 2018. AFL Canberra. And again, the ball is out of bounds. So the boundary umpires on that side earning their paycheck early, Chris. There's no doubt about that. We're ticking up towards the 4-minute mark, and still the scoreboard reads 0-0.
There's plenty of softening up going on out there. More attention being paid by a lot of players to their opposite number than to the ball. Horner with the tap down for the tricolours, but the ball at this stage working its way outside of their attacking zone. Still hot potato as Liam O'Neill gets it, loses it, comes back in for a secondary attempt. In at the bottom of the pile now, can't do a great deal with it, and you guessed it, yet another ball up. So we're seeing, I reckon, just about every play so far has been between the edge of the centre square, boundary and the 250-metre arcs on that far side of the ground. Chasing after it was Griffiths on that occasion for Ainsley. Now it's Sinkowitz gets in. He's come a long way from home, but they're still not able to get anything there. There's a quick boot on it from an Eastlake Demons player, sending it around towards centre wing position. Again, the player's arms go up, saying, deliberate, please, sir. But no joy given, and another throw in. Far side of the ground here at Manuka. Bathed in sunshine. Plenty of people on the outer side of the ground as well. Plenty of people scattered right around the park as the ball comes back into the field of play. Maybe the tap gotten away by Askew, but charging through on it, I think that was that O'Neill in there for Ainsley. Doesn't matter because the ball once again has beaten everybody over the boundary line. First side that can keep the ball in play and in hand for about 30 seconds may wind up scoring out of this. But here we are, 5.5 minutes in, no score at Manuka. Back into play again it comes. Big double-handed punch comes from Maynard. And now they look inside their forward 50, but again, good defence from Frail for Eastlake Demons. Puts the ball again towards the boundary line. There's a couple of players in pursuit of it, so no chance of deliberate. But another throw-in to take place in front of the Jack Fingleton scoreboard. I reckon that's the third one we've got here at Manuka. In case you're not aware, that scoreboard used to sit atop the stand at the MCG. It was brought up here back in the early 1980s when the MCG upgraded to its first video board. Now ball back in play. It comes back in towards the centre of the park. There's 4 or 5 players in contest for it. Still plenty of... I'll tell you what, it's like primary school footy at the moment, isn't it, Luke? Plenty of players around. Flies on the honeypot. We'll see if anyone can actually get something from it. As finally Ainsley going to attack. The target was Jamison. He couldn't get it. It's clean bowled him. Eastlake have got it through the defence, but only as far as Armstrong for Ainsley. He turns around, pops it into the path of Payne. Payne can't control it. Ball still live. Now off the ground again. I think that might be Jamison. It is. Jamison puts the ball in towards full forward. He got the first mark of the day, and the first goal of the day follows as Nick Salter wastes no time. Turns around and bangs it between the big sticks.
Yeah, so the tricolours underway in the 2018 AFL Canberra Grand Final, and the opening major for Ainsley going to Salter. So well done to Salter, taking the mark in the goal square. Ainsley today trying to secure their 3rd premiership in succession, or their 6th flag in 9 years. The three-peat is the aim, of course, for the Eastlake Demons. Well, they haven't been on top of the tree since 2001. It's been 17 long years for them. So we're back in the middle as play recommences. And coming through was Camp on the left foot, a high loping kick. It will bounce on the edge of the forward flank for the tricolours. Coming through was Leder. Gets the hand pass off now to Jamison. He was under a ton of pressure. Back to Leder. Now Leder has a chance to square it up. Armstrong, he's got it.
Good
so
grab.
Well done. That was terrific football from the tricolours as Camp won the centre clearance. It was a high kick out towards the forward flank. Leder and Jamison combining. And they've squared the ball up to their big man, Armstrong, and he'll have a chance to kick their second, Chris.
Luck's a fortune. That clearing kick out of the centre, it bounced and it turned square. Could have gone left and gone straight into a couple of Eastlake players. Instead went right and it kept a possession for Ainsley.
He likes
Armstrong loves it.
So well done. Armstrong with Ainsley's second goal. And Hayden Armstrong, well, geez... a prominent figure, isn't he, Chris? He's a man mountain, Armstrong, and he'll be looking forward to a huge day. Flaherty, the other key forward at the opposing end for the Eastlake Demons, also looking forward to a huge 4 quarters. But Armstrong, the first one to strike out of the big men.
Armstrong closing in on 50 goals for the season. That's number 48. Powered into a top 5 finish in the Mulroney medal, best and fairest during the week. Ball goes up in the centre of the ground, tapped down, won by Askew, but it's all Ainsley at the moment in there. Although contested possession sees it go to Foley. Foley slams it onto the right boot, puts them back into attack again. Ball on the ground, cleared away. I reckon that's Frail who's got it. Hand pass on to Roberts. Roberts, he's stuck with it, just gets the ball away. That's desperation footy, but they've got to move quickly. Have the Eastlake Demons, or they're going to get caught? And then indeed caught, but caught high, says the umpire. So that'll be McGuinness playing on with the free kick around onto the far side of the ground now. No real wind to speak of here today. We've seen sides get caught here in a couple of needful fixes during the course of the season, Luke, with windy conditions, playing on that far side of the ground and getting themselves into trouble. But no wind to speak of today as the ball comes back into attack for the Ainsley Tricolours, and taking the grab just inside 50 is Armstrong. A little bit too far for him, he reckons, so he goes for the hand pass to a teammate. Now calling for it is Salter at centre half forward, and he's... Well, I reckon he's been picked up for the free before the mark because he spilt the ball, but he copped a bit of a contact before the marking contest. And he's taken, well, he's got the free kick here. He'll kick from about 35 out, 45-degree angle. We saw a remarkable kick from about this spot in that under-18s game earlier this afternoon, didn't we, Luke?
Yeah, we did, Chris. As Salter takes a shot on the big sticks. We'll tell you about that shortly, what happened in the Rising Star game.
Salter pops it through, likes the look of it. Salutes, and they've got 3 straight, have Ainsley. After no score in the first 5 minutes, they've banged on 3 goals in the next 5, and it's 3 straight 18 for Ainsley. Eastlake yet to score, 10 1/4 gone first quarter.
Yeah, the tricolours bursting out of the blocks today in the first grade grand final. In the second grade competition, we'll have that score through for you shortly. But what a story in the under-18s with Heath Beaumont from the Ainsley Tricolours kicking a goal after the siren, Chris, to claim victory for Ainsley. He took a terrific mark.
Just about where Salter took that shot from.
Right, just what you mentioned. Anyway, we're back in the middle for the first grade. First quarter here, AFL Canberra 218 GF on a magnificent day at Manuka Oval in the nation's capital. Good crowd in. And I'll tell you what, Chris, there'll be no excuses for either of these two teams today. Perfect conditions. Askew and also Maynard, they both left it, hit the ground. In fact, don't see it too often. Players go in. Darcy came up with it. Letter going after it. Elwyn came through. Now the Tricolours bring it away. And there's Horner going after it. Anderson, hot pursuit. Hancock, well, might have caught one in the back. The umpire said it was all right. Jamison, weaved out of trouble. Did so well, Jamison. Spears it in now towards Payne. What can Payne do? He tried to go over left foot snap, but he was brought down just as he kicked it. And what's happened here? There is a free kick. The umpire said you're gone. And the Eastlake Demons have it deep in the back pocket. So they come across to the half-back flank. It's wide. In fact, it's too wide. It's a pretty ordinary kick in the end. It's out on the full, and the Tricolours will get another chance to come back through Horner. So that's exactly what they didn't need, Chris, because, they're hot to trot at the moment, Ainsley. They go inside 50 again. At the front was Payne. The ball came front and square to the contest. It is wrapped up. And yet again, we'll have another stoppage.
Wilson flying from behind in defence. Interesting to see him try it, but really they've got to try and play in front, this Eastlake side. They've already given up 3 goals to the Ainsley Tricolours. They can't really afford to give away another one, so they've got to start playing in front and getting this ball out of this dangerous forward 50 for Ainsley. I think we've only had one brief moment where the ball's gone inside the forward 50 for Eastlake. Danger signs early on grand final day. Throwing to take place just inside the 50-metre arc, again at the attacking end of the ground for the Tricolours. Changing ruck for Ainsley there. Delves getting into the secondary ruckman position now. Pack over the top of it. Ball being held. Player slung to the ground, but the umpire has already blown the whistle and says, we'll have another ball up. This time I'll toss it up. Still just inside the 50. It's true centre-half forward position for Ainsley. Running through onto it. The Tricolours we see come into the forward 50, into the goal square. Salter, he's got 2 for the day. Now, I reckon he's got 16 goals from 6 appearances in first grade for Ainsley this season, and he's got 2 this afternoon. This one, this will be fairly easy. He's on a fairly acute angle, but he's only going to kick from about 8 metres. So the goal, it'll be as wide as the mouth on Luna Park, and he should be putting this one through for his 3rd and his club's 4th this afternoon. Made that look fairly easy, did Nick Salter?
Yeah, good work from Costigan to get the ball to him. And, it is an absolute dream start at Manuka for the Tricolours in the GF. The Demons, a nightmare start. They have to turn this around very quickly because at the moment, as we tick up towards the 14-minute mark of the opening term, the Ainsley Tricolours lead 4 straight 24 to Eastlake, yet to score.
Couple of players yet to be cited for Eastlake out there, so they really need to do. I said there was some flies over the honeypot stuff happening earlier this afternoon. Players all over the place chasing the ball as it ran around. Problem is that it's the same sort of group of 8 or 10. There's a few Eastlake players who've got to inject themselves onto this game. What have they got? Still a long way to go. 18 minutes plus time on in each quarter here at AFL Canberra. Ball comes up in the centre of the park, and it was D'Souza into the ruck for Eastlake, and he probably got the better of it. But then, once again, as it has been all afternoon, ball comes away for the Tricolours. Chasing into it now is Anderson. Gets boot to ball. Sends it around onto the grandstand wing. Picked up off the turf, though, by Bernasconi. Bernasconi goes backwards and then gets it back again, and he's able to turn around. Puts his side back into attack. Centre wing position. Grandstand side of the ball. Pack flies. No one able to get it. Coming back around underneath it once again is Anderson. So he's decided to put some authority on the game and does so. Waiting up the ground is Sinkowitz for the Tricolours. Gets past him, through hands onto Delves. Delves turns around, sends it back now, finds Bernasconi, his 3rd touch in about 2 minutes. It goes astray. There's nobody inside the forward 50 for Eastlake, so they're going to need to get the ball and then get it in there, but instead we've got the Pack. Hand pass attempted to get it out there. Well, maybe a hand pass attempted by Bernasconi to get it out there, but the umpire says that's holding. That's not holding. That's my attempt to pop it up. Gets the quick ball up in there. Tapped down one by D'Souza. But he's found a free kick in there, in the contest, and it'll be Burge. And this man with the most distinctive boots on the park, these blazing day-glow yellow and blue boots, puts his side deep into attack. No one able to get to it on the pack, but instead it's Hancock. Chases, turns around, tries to put it over his shoulder, instead puts it absolutely nowhere. Wild hand pass, it's taken away by Costigan, and now it's the tricolours once again clearing off the hands of the pack. Jamison on the far side, but there's a free kick been found by the umpire, so Darcy's got it for the Demons.
So they come in, the Demons, and fire it up towards the top of the square. Flaherty couldn't quite take the mark at the back. He got his mitts to it, but couldn't get that clutch. And it spilled over. And there will be a ball up here. Gee, there's some players around this pill. Right at the top of the goal square. Delves knocked it down. Phillips tried to get the ball clear for the tricolours. Quick snap out of the pack.
Oh.
And, well, it's been marked right on the goal line, would you believe?
Pretty short 15.
So, gee, don't they need a major? The Eastlake Demons at the moment, as we get to the 16.5-minute mark in the opening term. 24 love at the moment. Now, Salter, geez, got a good way back in defence now, Salter, as he really starts to slow the play up here. Salter up towards centre wing, looking for Armstrong. Over the top was Frail. Now Phillips runs onto it, and here they go, the tricolours. They try and link up. Armstrong's moved down the ground. There's not much forward of him. Now the ball bounces back into the hands here of McMahon. Grange McMahon that was. It comes back to Anderson. He goes along the wing now, and it's turned over again. So Salter, well, he's been everywhere on the early stages. Salter, he gets it on to Griffiths. The tricolours forward. Oh, Payne absolutely wrecked Armstrong. In fact, this is Armstrong, and Armstrong's gone through and kicked a goal. So Horner came down. That was the guy that Payne ran into. My goodness, didn't they clash? Armstrong got clear in the meantime, and he's run into an open goal. Yeah, my goodness, what an unbelievable start here to Ainsley. 5 goals straight, they lead 30. Eastlake still yet to register a score, Chris.
I reckon Horner's hurt himself there too. He's getting some of the magic spray on his left leg at the moment. He landed and the ground shook. He's no little Jack Horner. He's a very big man, he's Simon Horner. Hit the ground very, very hard from a great height, but he won't be in any rush to come off. Gee, it's a great start by Ainsley. Eastlake have got to do something. Well, the first thing Eastlake got to do is score. They've just got to get something on the board. And at the moment, they really don't look like doing that. But we're back in the middle of the park here, entering time on. First quarter, 5 goals the difference, and it's 5 straight to Ainsley. Ball goes down. Pretty ordinary bounce. It'll come back for a second one there because it went straight into the arms of Delves, who was a good 3 metres outside the centre circle.
Gee, don't they have to get their hands on the contested ball, Chris? This grand final is slipping away before their eyes in the, well, close to the first term break. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Well, you don't like to see this on grand final day. You don't like to see it any time. You like to see a contest any time. But as Sinkowitz pops the ball down to Powell, Powell puts his side into attack. And once again, it's Jamison. He's been pretty good too. Not as busy, not as prolific as Salter and Armstrong, but he's certainly injected himself into the game. And Jamison, well, he'll be taking a shot from 40 out, 45-degree angle. This really is a place you see a lot of goals scored from here at Manuka at this scoreboard end.
I wonder what Pete McGrath's message will be to the Eastlake Demons at a quarter time, Chris. He's had a bit of time to think about it.
I'll guarantee you one thing. His blood pressure will be going up by the second until he gets out there to blow off some steam. It's holding up, and I reckon it might just be on the near side. It is. So Jamison not able to put a major next to his name, but he gets the first minor score for the afternoon. 5-1-31 for the Tricolours. The Demons yet to get off the mark. 19.5 gone in the first quarter. Now, what can Eastlake do? Do they work it up the centre, or do they just try and hang on to it for a bit of possession? Well, this time they're going to go straight up the guts of the park here at Manuka.
It's a massive kick from Wilson.
Huge kick from the goal square almost to the centre circle. And now tapping it forward is Lupton. He's lost the pill, but a couple of teammates in there and a couple of the tricolours in as well. Maynard in over the top. And the umpire says, yeah, we've got no clear possession. Once again, a ball up. This will happen right on the edge of the centre square.
Hello, a bit of a scuffle here between O'Neill and also O'Rourke.
If you're losing the match, win the fight. That's the tip, isn't it? Ball comes back up into the air, tapped in the direction of the Demons, but there's really, again, 6 or 7 players in over the top. I reckon O'Rourke's one of them in there. Also in there might be Hancock. There's a few others. The umpire's found a free kick. Well, he's plucked one out there and it's going to go Ainsley's way.
Got to tell everyone too, Chris, 18-minute quarters plus time on as O'Neill comes away with it now, heads up towards the half-forward flank for the Tricolours. Armstrong tried to bowl the pack over. Coming through was Frail, and there is a free kick given away, and it's going the way of Roberts. So Roberts, what can he do? He links up with O'Rourke. Beautiful kick. O'Rourke right out on the far side on centre wing. The Demons really have to put something together from this forward thrust, and there's a whistle downfield here. So that's interesting. They've got a chance. They go inside attacking 50. Pretty ordinary kick. In fact, it's very ordinary. Elwyn trying to get back there, but that just wasn't good enough. And the ball is out of bounds. So, well, we mustn't be too far off the first break.
That's pretty ordinary from Eastlake. They had Hancock on his own. He was on his own by about 10 metres there at the top of the goal square, easily within range, and they just didn't even look in his direction.
Yep, Maynard out of the ruck for the Tricolours. This is Leder. Leder on the right foot. Sends it up towards Armstrong. He was up against Frail.
Oh.
Ball in dispute at the moment. Jamison was underneath it, and another free kick given away. And again, Eastlake, well, they're starting to pick up now a little. It comes through Wilson. Wilson, geez, a thumping kick. We saw that kick moments ago from fullback. He goes inside 50. Here's Burge. Now here's a chance. Burge lines up, goes for goal. Has he got it? No, he hasn't. So it's missed to that far side and goes through from 1- score. And that is, in fact, Chris, the first score for the Eastlake Demons for today in the grand final. So at the moment, Ainsley lead 31-1.
Well, at least they're on the board, but it's the Tricolours bringing the ball back into play. Cusner, I reckon. Now we find Griffiths is the target. It's gone over him. Doing well to cover was Foley. Puts his side back into attack. No, he doesn't, because it's a pretty ordinary kick. It wobbles, and I don't even know if it actually ever traversed back into the field of play. Salter unable to get it, so we see the ball returning in the hands of Eastlake. Luke?
They're just starting to get their hands on the pill now, aren't they, Chris, towards the latter part of this first term. Darcy couldn't quite take the mark in the middle. Here's Elwyn bursting onto it. This is what they want. On to Burge now from outside 50. Oh, beautiful.
That's better play.
Lovely little chip kick. He goes into Mesman, and Mesman will have a chance from about 35 out.
I saw him kick about 7 from here in the warm-up, mate, so he knows what he's doing at this point.
Well, here's his chance of the real thing, Chris. So we're just mentioning how they're just starting to get their hands on the ball. And here's Mesman.
Oh.
And again, that one's faded. And across the face a goal and through for another behind. So 23 and a half minutes gone here in the 2018 AFL Canberra Grand Final. Hello to everyone watching across Australia on NITV. And if you're catching us on the live stream, hello to you. Chris Coleman and Luke Francis with you as the ball goes out of bound in the right forward pocket or the southern end. And that is the Canberra Demons in the white with the red sash. The Ainsley Tricolours in those St Kilda Guernseys of the red, black and white, Chris.
Ball back in play, and it's Ainsley who get the best of it once again. They've just got so many numbers at the fall of the pill at the moment. Underneath it there was Delves. Couldn't make much with it, but he hand passed it. Goes through hands to Salter. He's got 3 goals already for the day. Puts the ball into forward 50. The target down there was Payne. Payne couldn't control. Instead, it's picked up by Askew. Now they turn around the Eastlake Demons through Wilson. Wilson can't control. Bit of physicality going on. Ball trickles over the boundary line in the forward pocket for the Ainsley Tricolours. 24 and a half gone in the first quarter. Can't be too long till the siren goes. We've had 5 goals, so yeah, I reckon we're pretty close to the siren sounding. Wait to see who can get the best of it. D'Souza in the ruck in the front, just pushed underneath it. I reckon it was the two 19s going for each other at that point, and it was Armstrong who got the best of it. Now the ball, well, it was with Leder, but there's a whistle gone, and it's a free kick going the way of the Ainsley Tricolours.
Gee, this one would hurt, wouldn't it?
Just as I was starting to get it right.
That's it. Yeah, they were just starting to gain possession, Eastlake, and now the Saints with a shot on goal, Chris.
This is Thomas.
Tricolours, I should say.
Sorry, yes. The Tricolours is Thomas Powell from inside the 50. Oh, yeah, he copped one high just as he was trying to duck through the tackle, and the contact rode around his shoulders. unable to convert the relatively easy opportunity. Put a lot of altitude on it, probably too much on the height, not enough on the length, and it's 5-2-32 for Ainsley. Eastlake have just the 2 points, 25.5 gone. They've got Stibbard on his own at the moment out on the wing on this side, but again, Eastlake decide straight up the middle. Oh, flying! Great grab taken in the middle of the park by Askew, and now he plays on, puts it into the path of Flaherty. Flaherty lets it bounce 4 or 5 times. He can't get a handle on it. Eventually taps it to his own advantage, gets hold of it, and then he's dragged over the boundary line. Well, that was a good mark there. Mark of the day by Sam Askew.
Yeah, certainly was. What a ripper. Got up and took a beauty.
Well, there's still a chance here to get a goal if Eastlake can win the ruck contest and tap it into their forward 50. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the forward 50. There's only 4. Oh, no, there's a fifth tricolours player in there. He was hiding behind a teammate. But they've managed to do the first bit and get it inside the forward 50. But can they do anything else with it? Hand pass comes from, I reckon it was Frail,
Johnson.
over to Johnson in the headgear, but he sprayed it to the left.
He has, and that's the third time they've done it, Chris. They've missed to that side, Eastlake. So, well, 3 behinds early for them in the grand final today. And Ainsley off to a blistering start in this first quarter. So they bring it back into play. And the ball will come back through Taylor. He goes right out wide here. He wanted Horner. It ended up with Sinkowitz. Sinkowitz up towards centre wing. Now that was Hurst. Ends up back with Hurst. But they did well. Hancock for the Demons. Now gets it on to Johnson. Johnson over the top. Oh, gee, Roberts was hit heavily. Hancock again. Darcy, can he weave out of trouble? He did well, Darcy. The Demons now get it on the boot and send it forward. Flaherty, just got caught. Now goes on to Phillips, and Phillips runs it through for one behind. The crowd's calling for deliberate, but the umpire said it's all right. And would you believe they've now had 4 behinds through the same set of sticks, Chris, Eastlake. And at the moment, as we get right up towards almost the 28-minute mark in this opening term, it's now Ainsley 5-2-32, leading Eastlake 4 points.
Well, at least Eastlake have got something on the board, but they'd really like a major to show for it. Johnson has the ball. He's tackled just adjacent to the centre square. Thought the ball might have popped out there, but it didn't. So the umpire says he'll come back in and take possession. We've got an Eastlake player coming off with a runner down here, Luke. Just keep an eye on who that might be and see if there's an injury on the Eastlake bench, which would not be what they want. Grange McMahon, probably the best of the contested players in the middle on this pack, but we've got a free kick. Umpire has ruled a free kick going the way of the Eastlake side. I reckon it's a...
Donald Roberts has come off, Chris.
Okay.
He didn't look well at all, did he? So
he was looking a bit ordinary, and I'm just... Yeah. And then the free kick over there on the other side of the centre square comes to nothing because the siren has sounded here, and it has been all red, white and black as opposed to all red and white in this first quarter. Ainsley 5-2-32 at quarter time in the 2018 AFL Canberra Grand Final over the Eastlake Demons. Yet to register a major, 0-4-4. 28 points the margin at the first break. Ainsley 5-2-32. Eastlake 0-4-4 in the AFL Canberra Grand Final for 2018. Chris Coleman, Luke Francis with you this afternoon on a glorious Sunday afternoon in the nation's capital. The last of the spectators who snuck onto the ground to get close to the huddle at quarter time just making their way off at the far side. Ball held aloft in the air, and the second term gets underway with that 28-point deficit faced by the Eastlake Demons. They need first possession, and it goes in their direction roughly. It was Johnson chasing after it, but they can't do much with it. And once again, it's a clearing, hurried kick by Ainsley, and it's the tricolours going into attack. Griffiths has the ball, paddles it around in front of him. Thought I heard a whistle there, but game still continues. Ball into attack for Ainsley once again. Big punch over the top from Mitch Frail. Sends the ball over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in just adjacent to the 50-metre arc at the southern or Manuka end of UNSW Canberra Oval. That's the end of the Ainsley Tricolours kicking to in this second term, looking to extend their lead. Ball back into the field of play. Oh, good body work from Armstrong in the ruck contest. He's just grabbed it, sent it through. Oh, it's just been touched on the line. Nearly got his third major.
Well, gee, I don't know where Askew was on that boundary throw-in.
Just got muscled out of it. Armstrong just hit him hard, body to body.
Contested it at all, so... Gee, that was far too easy. So they get to bring it in again, Eastlake, through Wilson. Geez, a thumping kick when he gets hold of a Sharon. And he has on this occasion again. It's ended up in the centre. Coming through was Flaherty. The tricolours try to send it forward again. Ends up in the hands of Darcy for Eastlake. He's brought to ground by Griffiths. And the umpire yet again will sort them out. So early stages of a second term here. 32 plays 4. Ainsley with a very good lead. Maynard out of the ruck, quickly onto the right boot. Inside, attacking 50, ends up with Jamison. He's under a ton of pressure. He decides to go backwards, to go forwards. Griffiths has a pot shot at the goal. O'Neill out wide. In fact, it was Payne, and the ball has gone out of bounds, and there is a free kick here because it was out on the full, was it, Chris?
I think so.
So we'll come back through McLaughlin. McLaughlin is going to send it. Well, I think he intended to go long down the line, but it seemed to skew a bit sideways off the boot. Now, it's picked up by the tricolours. They send it wide. In fact, it's out of bounds, and it's a pretty ordinary kick from Taylor, and it's seen out on the full. So this time, Ryle will bring it back into place. A bit of pretty ordinary football there from both teams.
Well, there's 2 footies on the fence over there that he could have picked up, but instead he's waited for one of the spectators to go and find that one from the front row. Must be his preferred Sharon for the afternoon.
That's it. So this is Ryle. Loads up. Just puts it towards a contest. Going to ground was Griffiths. Over the top with it was Roberts. Hacked out of there by Costigan. Now, here's Wilson. Gets it over to Frail. And they come out of trouble this time, out of the danger zone, Eastlake. Flaherty couldn't quite take it. Sinkowitz, he gets the ball now to Horner. Horner squares it up to the middle. A mark now taken by Griffiths. Now he's got a man free out on this side, and that is Taylor. As Taylor now runs onto it, spears it inside, attacking 50, an ordinary kick, and a nice mark taken down low, Chris, by Frail for the Demons.
Frail's been good in defence for the Demons, but that's a pretty ordinary kick. Well, he's a backman, and he's kicked it like one there, put his teammate under pressure, and he's absolutely cleaned up. Ball goes not terribly far, but underneath it is Alex Wilson. Now let's see, we've seen Wilson load up with a couple of big ones, almost Valperovic style. Remember him?
Valperovic?
Yeah, the big woof, the original woof back in the early 80s, and he's gone again, cleared it outside 50, but it's all Ainsley at the moment. Sinkowitz taps it to his own advantage, gets it onto the left foot. It's going to hang and just sit a little bit wide and goes indeed out on the full.
Gee, we've seen some ordinary kicking,
haven't we?
Down the southern end, the right hand of screen. And Chris, haven't we?
Got to be something about that new press centre that's being built in the background. That's a magnificent looking structure, by the way. That's going up for the first Test cricket match that's going to be played here at Manuka in February, Australia and Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and what a magnificent establishment this Manuka Oval is, full stop. It's just a beauty, isn't it? And it looks absolutely in pristine condition today.
Number of sporting grounds around Canberra getting renovation at the moment. This is just one of them that's improving its looks. We may talk about that a little bit later on, but let's get back into the footy now as the Eastlake side, they stream into attack, and we saw there it was Mesman who was chasing, but the ball
Another one
wins the race to the boundary line. And it's brought back into play here very quickly by Ainsley. They've got numbers. They bring it around to Camp now. They can raffle this off. They bring it around onto the grandstand side. And again, plenty of players playing in front. Oh, they've got into trouble. He's run it out over the boundary line there, has Delves. Took one step too far. And as he went to kick it, well, ball crossed the stripe. So instead it's a free kick for Eastlake. They get a chance here at a free one. Now Wilson has it.
He was trying to claim a free kick, Chris, but yeah.
Okay, so Wilson, of course, the ball was kicked after it was over the stripe, so it's actually a boundary throw in. Wilson wanted the free kick for out on the full. Kick came after that, but instead charging through, it's McGuinness. McGuinness straight into the path of O'Neill. They come together and they remain welded together, so the umpire will ball it up. Corner of the centre square, attacking into the ground for Eastlake. Can they actually get a goal? They have yet to do so. O'Neill with a clearing kick for Ainsley. Goes as far as Hurst. Hurst taps it down with the left hand in front of Horner. Hurst gets back in for another one now. Sends it on the outside. Kicked forward by Camp. Camp, he's looking for a teammate up there in Armstrong, but Armstrong was under a good bit of pressure from Frail. So the ball spills out over the boundary line.
And Delves is going to take this ruck contest with D'Souza. In it comes. In fact, it's now hit away by the Eastlake Demons, and it ends up in the hands there of O'Rourke. Came for, he links up again. He went for Flaherty but missed him, and the ball has gone out of bounds. So, well, some pretty scrappy play, we must say, to start this second term of the AFL Canberra Grand Final. The Tricolours versus the Demons. Ainsley lead at the 6-minute mark, 33 points to 4. As Ainsley go for that elusive three-peat, what an effort it would be. The Ainsley Football Club, first established back in 1927. The Demons a year prior in 1926. And today the Tricolours try to secure their third premiership in succession, or their sixth flag in 9 years. And for the Demons, as we said, they haven't claimed a cup since 2001, so 17 years between breaks. As Askew just having a game of chases there with Richardson. Another ball up, comes through Flaherty. Letters after him. Good effort by Letter to bring Flaherty to ground. And the umpire, yet again, will send it into the air. So, just the near side of the centre. Maynard over the top of the Tricolours has given away a free kick. In fact, Camp and Johnson want to go on with it in the background. In the meantime, it gets to Hancock, just in front of our commentary position. Oh, gee, and back play. McGuinness has come down. Maynard has clocked him. You probably got a better look than me, Chris.
Well, I can tell you McGuinness was running up as though to set up for a short pass. And Maynard just decided to stop in front of him. The contact, look, it was high. I don't think it was particularly nasty, but it was certainly high. Feelings running a bit high here, and they've been very smart here. They've got Maynard off.
I tell you what, that is one of the quickest decisions I've ever seen from the bench. It was very clever football. They just dragged him off the ground, didn't they? They said, get off before this escalates.
There's potential for it.
That was, I'll tell you what, very good coaching as Hancock has the ball. In the meantime, for the Demons, he'll kick it from about 40 out. The man on the mark is just foxing a little at the moment, pointing to the spot. He steps forward, Hancock, and it's a shocker, we must say. And he sprayed it to the left-hand side, and it's out on the full, Chris.
He's missed everything. They've missed everything to the left so far this afternoon. I don't think they've missed any to the right. They had 4 points through the left point post, or 3 points and a rush behind at the other end. And now they've had a miss out on the full at the northern end. We must say,
too, after that clash, McGuinness is quite okay, Chris. He's still on the ground. He's up and about. Yeah, he's just behind Jamison at the moment.
Well, Maynard will come back out after a couple of minutes break when he's had a chance to cool down, but this time it's sharked off the ground by Liam Lupton, and the Eastlake fans, they finally got something to cheer about. First goal of the afternoon for the Eastlake Demons goes off the boot of Liam Lupton. It just came from, well, pretty ordinary attempt to return the ball into the field of play from the Tricolours. Lupton was able to run onto it, shark it, and kick it through unopposed. They get their first major, and they close it to 23 points. 5-3-33 for Ainsley. Eastlake now under 1-4-10.
Yeah, they dearly needed it, and Lupton was the man, and gee, didn't their supporters get behind them. So we're back in the middle again at Monica. 9.5 gone, second term. Hello to everyone viewing through NITV, wherever you may be around Australia, and to all those tuned in on the AFL stream. Away we go in the middle again, as we have some players tie up the ball again, and a lot of congestion, and the umpire yet again to sort them out. Okay, so it's Askew up against Delves. Ball hits the ground. Delves with his hands back on the peel, quickly onto the right foot. Now the Tricolours have a chance here to go forward. Inside attacking 50 over the head of Armstrong, and it's ended up with Frail. So Frail, the kick was on to Darcy. Darcy wants to go straight up the ground. This is beautiful football. Oh, it went over the top of Hancock. It was a little bit too tall for him. D'Souza. Hancock gets another chance. Phillips brings him to ground. Starting to step up a notch here. As D'Souza, beat him. Coming through was Sinkowicz for the Tricolours. Now Hancock, in fact, going back there was Horner. Gee, he had to work for the Tricolours. Oh, this is a beautiful contest at the moment. Plays going in. Eastlake get another shot on goal. And that one's gone through for a behind, Chris. So, that one came from McMahon. Yeah. So, 2 McMahons playing today. In Guernsey 32, we've got Grange McMahon. And in 49, we've got Riley McMahon. That came from Grange. And, we
won't say it was a vintage shot on goal then.
Oh, I get it, Chris. I get it.
We'll just leave it alone at that. As the Ainsley Tricolours bring the ball back into the field of play. Waiting over the far side is Powell, but the ball once again beats him over the boundary line. Wiles was in there as well in that succession of play, but we'll wait and see where the Eastlake side can continue. They've got a bit more of positional authority in this quarter at the moment. They've been playing in front, and that's been helping them. Hasn't helped them greatly on the scoreboard yet. They've added just 1 goal, but they have closed the gap just a little bit, and that's the thing. You've got to close a gap 1 goal at a time as they go into attack now. Short ball, but first to it there was Kuzner. He couldn't control. Ball coming away again. He doesn't come away. Goes straight up in the air. Now it's through the hands to Phillips for Ainsley, and they're away across the middle of the park. Waiting underneath it is Stibbard. He's in front. Collard brought to ground. Umpire says play on. It goes to McGuinness. McGuinness now sends the ball into the path of O'Rourke on the far side. If he can tap it to advantage, he can't. It's beaten to it by Wiles. Wiles then puts the ball back into the contest, and there's 2 or 3 players in it over the top. Umpire will ball it up. Centre wing position. Outer side of the ground at Manuka. They were almost away there, the Tricolours. They just needed O'Rourke needed to get maybe just another 2 feet on that punch, and it would have been into the big wide open spaces. Ball still in dispute on the far side of the ground. It'll be another ball up. This one to take place about 6 feet in from the boundary line on the far side.
Few people enjoying the sunshine out on the outer side, Chris.
Great place to watch footy from over there. I know plenty of people who like to sit there for Giants home games when they play here at Manuka on that open side of the ground.
Expecting a top of 16 today, and you'd think we've already reached it. So big pack of players over on the outer side, and the ball to be brought back in again. The umpire about to pitchfork it back into play. End on end, it comes back in. Maynard just taps it down in front. Ended up with Askew. Smothered away by Leder. And that was kicked away by Wiles. And the ball, beautiful mark, in fact, taken in the end.
It was Jamison who had it. Puts it in
so it comes
Griffiths.
Back in to the middle now. It was a turnover, though, going to the way of the Demons. Now Wilson, he's met heavily. O'Neill couldn't take it and went by him, and there's been a free kick given, and that's going to D'Souza. So the Demons go inside attack. And hello, what's happened here? There's been a 50, has there? Yes. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. D'Souza got the kick away. So one of the Tricolours must have encroached. Now, hello, Elwyn's down to Foley. Bit of push and shove going on in the back plate. Nothing too serious. But Eastlake will have a shot on goal here, and it will be D'Souza.
I just checked
they
back.
Need it, don't they?
Luke, I just checked back to see if I could spot what that 50 was for. Just wound back the tape, and I couldn't spot anything there, mate, so I've got no idea. The umpire gave it very quickly, so it must have been a hot one, but this will be, you'd imagine, a fairly easy shot.
D'Souza comes in, and he's got it, D'Souza. The crowd loves it. And Sam D'Souza puts the second major on the board for Eastlake. So slowly but surely, they try to peg back the tricolours, and at the moment, coming up towards the 15-minute mark of a second term in the AFL Canberra Grand Final for 2018, it's Ainsley 5-3-33, leading Eastlake 2-5-17, Christopher Coleman.
7 goals so far today. Every one of them kicked to the left of your screen, to the northern end, the Talopia Park end, if you like, here at Manuka. Will that trend continue for this afternoon? Well, the fans at that end, they're at the scoring end. Well, there aren't too many fans at the other end, actually, because it's largely shut off as a construction site. We should clarify that for you as we see taking the ball out of the centre of the ground. Wiles now puts the boot to ball on the left, sends the tricolours into attack, onto the hands of Leder. Leder spins a full 360, lets the ball go in the tackle. Chasing it on the ground now is Hurst. He can't do much with it. It comes away to the advantage of Eastlake. Good tackle laid by O'Neill, though, and the umpire will ball it up. 48 out from the Ainsley goals in the second term here. It's fast and furious and it's willing. Ainsley has slowed down a little and maybe just got a little bit narky at stages in this second quarter, which has allowed Eastlake to just get a bit on top. Powell taps the ball into the path of Salter. Salter still has it, goes one way, goes the other, goes back the one way again, puts it in front of Camp. Camp keeps it in play in front of the boundary line, but it's only gone as far as the Eastlake Demons. I reckon, is that McGuinness down there who's got it? Well, they come around and bring it into play, keep it in front of Askew. This is the advantages of playing in front. They're dropping men in front. They've got a player short here in Henderson. Pass, or the attempted pass, is over his head, and it was Johnson the target for it. Couple of players involved, tapped off the ground now by Hancock to his own advantage into the path of Burge. If he can get a handle on it, he'll be away, but he can't. Turns around, has to go back into the pack. He'll have a secondary attempt. No, he won't. It's picked up off the ground by Griffiths. Ball comes back out towards the boundary line. There's a few players calling for deliberate there, but the umpire says nothing doing. It'll be a throw-in to take place in front of the Bradman stand here at Manuka Oval. 16.5 gone in the second term.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt the Eastlake footy team has picked up their intensity here in the second term. This game's definitely gone up a notch or up a gear. Comes in again. What can we do? D'Souza gets it down, and it just was blown off the side of the boot by O'Rourke. Askew after it, so to his Camp. It bounced into the hands of Camp. He gets the ball off now to Horner. Horner had a bit of time to sum up the situation, and he goes to Powell. Powell, he's about 70 or 80 out from goal. Powell swings around on the right foot, a top spinner, an awful kick, and it's found the Eastlake's defence, and it comes away through Ryle. So Ryle out to the outer side on this occasion. He finds D'Souza. That's in fact Wilson. So Wilson loads up and sends it very wide. And Eastlake try to win it out of the pack, and they do so on this occasion. They're going forward now through Lupton. Lupton, scrubby old kick. It ends up with Johnson. They get another chance, the Demons, to have a shot at the goal going forward. But back there in defence is Taylor on the last line, and he'll come out this way.
Oh, shocking
off
kick.
The side of the boot. But in the end it finds Delves. That's okay. So Delves just trying to steady up play here, giving a signal to slow it down, boys, and steady up. Don't lose your head. Frail goes back. Over the top was Hurst, and now ends up with O'Rourke. Oh, he missed his teammate in Tuddy. Now that came through Henderson. Back a bit of scrappy play here from Eastlake. Now they get their hands on it. D'Souza, short chip kick out wide, and away goes Elwyn. Elwyn winds up with a right foot going towards goal. Hancock went too early. No free kick given. And I reckon Richardson was pretty stiff there, Chris. He's appealing to the umpire. He's got his arms out, but the umpire wants absolutely nothing to do with it.
Well, the fly was early, but the ball has gone over the boundary line, so we'll get a good contest here now. 16 points the margin, 18.5 gone. If Eastlake can get the next one, we are really in for a ding-dong second half here.
Yeah, you're right about that.
No real clear ascendancy. Sorry, Luke.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, Chris. If they get the next one, you can really feel the crowd starting to lift underneath us, can't you? That the Eastlake's Demon supporters.
There's plenty going on at the moment. And Eastlake, they've got it away out of the pack, but it's only going to go through for a bound behind. No, it's not even going to do that. It's hit the behind post. So just the rushed kick out of the bottom of the pack.
I think that one came from McGuinness.
It was a really, really hurried kick. All I could see was his leg, so you've done better than me picking that out. Ball comes back in, though. Still 16 points the difference. Kicked away. Now we've got a free kick in there. Tutty was pushing and shoving, throwing his body around a bit, and I reckon he's the one who's given away the free kick. Umpire is certainly indicating that. And it'll come back to Maynard. And Maynard, he's asking for players to come around into the shelter of the grandstand. That's a bit of a dummy call because all he's done is open up Singowitz. Singowitz wasn't ready for it, and it's all Eastlake here. Turning around with it is Tutty. Tutty puts it into the path of Hancock, and he'll have an easy shot here. This will be 30 out directly in front. This is the real fair dinkum hotspot. And a chance for this one to get back into, well, almost single figures. It'll be what? It'll be 10 points the difference if he can bag this.
Well, you called it absolutely perfectly, Chris. Maynard was calling troops out of his side, and he decided to go back inside, and it just wasn't on. It had to be 110% on.
Sinkowitz wasn't ready for it. He just wasn't looking for that, and suddenly it's coming to me.
And Tutty with great work to get it onto his teammate in Hancock. He comes in and he loves it. And like Chris Coleman said, if Eastlake were to get the next one, this grand final will be back on again. And I tell you what, Chris, now we do have a game on our hands. You beauty.
Oh, do we what? I tell you, the grand finals in the various sports around Canberra this winter season, have been absolutely superb. In the rugby league last week, mate, we had a side got 30-0 up with half an hour to play, and then they were run down in the next 18 minutes. It was 30-all with 7 minutes to play.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was, and the side that got 30-0 up won at 31-30, by the way, with a late field goal.
No.
Second Division Rugby League yesterday, we had a side got 22-0 up, and they only won at 22 points to 16, and nearly gave up a try at the end of that one as well. So, not surprised at all to see yet another comeback in, and yet another football grand final, and yet another code here in the nation's capital. Ball back in the middle of the park, and flying there is Maynard, gets it down to a teammate, and through underneath it all, it's Jess Johnson for Eastlake, who's picked it up, sends it down into the path of Jamison, who's moved back into defence there, can control the ball, but the Ainsley side getting away with it through Horner now. But oh, look at this, it is just all red and white. Ball going into the goal square, flying there, no mark taken, ball comes away. Johnson looking to provide some backup for a teammate, but now it's finally all red, white and black. We see Griffith, he has to let it bounce. Oh, dangerous play, almost taken away by Henderson, but the clearing kick from Griffith only gets as far as Grange McMahon for the Eastlake Demons. He turns around, they're just firing it back into attack repeatedly here. Burge lays the big tackle. Is that going to be holding the ball? Umpire says no, it's held to him, and it'll be a bounce to take place, or a ball up to take place. 55 out from the Eastlake goal. 22 minutes gone here, so we're into the early stages of time on in the second term. And Ainsley, having scored the first 5 to the northern end, have not scored a goal in this second term. We saw this in the AFL earlier this week, the first time in about 80 years that all the goals in the first half had been scored to one end, but Eastlake, oh no, this will be... Oh dear, Frail's made a meal out of this, and it's going to go into the path of Armstrong. Armstrong, he takes the shot, and he's put it through, curved it through off the outside of the boot. So we've got one to the southern end, and it's come from a horrible, horrible error from the Eastlake Demons. Frail was all over that, and he's just made a complete meal of it. We'll just relive this one, Luke.
I think he was a little unlucky with the bounce there, Chris. Well, yeah, it was unlucky because he was first of the contest. And
well, he got hands on it.
Yeah, I think he got it might have beaten him. I think he misread the flight of the ball, to be honest. Anyway, that's unfortunate for the Demons because it took them a quarter and a half to get going. But anyway, there is a goal there.
Don't write him off yet.
No, I haven't. Okay, back in the middle again, and away we go. And Camp comes out of the middle and sends it forward again for the Tricolours, and a great mark taken back there for the Demons by McMahon.
He's had a good second quarter.
Yeah, Grange McMahon comes forward to Roberts. Roberts just trying to keep possession here. Oh, don't know if that was on. And he decided to go against it into the middle to Burge. Burge decided to knock it on to McGuinness. And it's coming back here. McGuinness says, I don't want the advantage, umpire. Put his arm up to declare it. Now it ends up with Burge again. Okay, 23 or close to 24 minutes.
They've got to come back over the mark now.
A few take ones, take twos here. Now the tape's rolling again. The umpire says, on to Hancock. I tell you what, that was an absolute sitter. Dropped it cold. Jamison across the ground now. Two players about to meet. Here's McMahon again. As you just mentioned, Chris, he's hot in this second quarter, McMahon. He's really starting to push the Demons forward. Here's Flaherty with a chance. over the back, knocked it forward now, ends up with Phillips. He just slams it on the boot and says, let's get out of here, boys. Wilson after it. So too is Hurst. Hurst slams it on the left boot, dribbles in towards the forward 50 for the Demons. In fact, the tricolours now ends up with, Foley. And Foley has dribbled it through for one behind. So a minor score here going the way of Ainsley. And at the moment, they do lead 6-4-40 to Eastlake's 3-5-23. Almost 25 gone, Chris.
Eastlake have done a great job putting pressure on Ainsley in this second term. They could have been forgiven for really rolling over and playing dead. But there is no tomorrow. It's a grand final. They've cleared it, but it's only gone as far as plenty of Ainsley players. Who's going to be in at the hot spot here? Well, there's Foley's one of them. There's 3 Eastlake players. They fly, they spoil each other. It comes off hands to Salter. Salter, well, that's got to be holding the ball. It is holding the ball. He tried to get the kick away, but never connected with the foot. Ball goes to ground, so Eastlake will get a chance to clear from 30 out from their own goal. Now, which way are they going to go? They've got Johnson out on his own on this wing. Got another player in short in Henderson on this side, but instead they go the other side where there's too many red, white and black jerseys. This could turn into ugly play. Jamison's one of them. Another call of ball from the Ainsley fans. It comes back to Jamison. He snaps from the left foot but puts it through for a point. That'll take him to 6-5-41. Ainsley, Eastlake 3-5-23, so it's exactly 3 goals the difference.
Yeah, 11 scoring shots to 8 as Wilson goes short to Frail. Tall guy Frail, back inside to Darcy. So that was nice.
Got Darcy on his own.
Has got so much time. He slams it onto the left foot and he's turned it over to Horner. So that was pretty ordinary play. Very ordinary football, in fact.
He had 3 or 4 players in short on their own, but went to a contest.
Horner out wide to Jamison. Good hands. Takes the mark. Got the fluoro orange wheels on. Off he goes in them, takes off, accelerates, puts a high loping kick in towards forward 50 for the tricolours. Delves couldn't quite take the mark, ball to ground. And again, we'll have another stoppage. Umpire wants it. Close to the long break here. And Ainsley absolutely came out and smoked the Demons in the first quarter. The Demons have slowly but surely clawed their way back, but still, Ainsley with a good lead in this grand final, 41 plays 23. Chris Coleman and Luke Francis with you on NITV in AFL Riverina.
AFL Canberra, mate.
AFL
Riverina's
Canberra.
next weekend.
Yeah, that's it. In towards 50 again, and the ball out of bounds, Chris.
That's the joys when you call footy all over the countryside, mate. The ball over the boundary line, throw in to take place on the half-forward flank for the Ainsley tricolours. What I liked about Eastlake, the first 20 minutes of this quarter, they played in front and they played for each other. They've got a little bit overconfident and they've started to rush things again. If they can go back to that game plan for the first 20 minutes of this quarter, they will be very much in this game as it progresses. Hand pass now goes from Grange McMahon out wide to Hancock. Yep. They can't do a lot with it. It's gone over the boundary line. It'll be another throw in. Nobody in the forward 50, nobody in the forward half other than one defender for Ainsley. So who's that? That's Hugh Phillips. He's the loneliest man on the planet. He's got 100 metres between him and any other human being right now.
We see this so much in the modern game, don't we, Chris? Players pushing up the ground, and hello, the umpires spotted a free kick here, so we'll come back. So Maynard on the mark, and Wilson.
Switch it across to this side.
Wilson. That is D'Souza. So D'Souza goes out wide to McGuinness. Maynard nearly tried to wipe him off the planet early.
He's got Wilson in a paddock on this side. If they switch play, there's a goal on.
Yeah, Tuddy's now with it. On the outer side, baking in the sun, or bathing in the sun, you might like. I tell you what, there might be a few lobsters looking in the mirror tonight, because usually one of the first sunny days of September can put a bit of shine on you, Chris, and those guys out there enjoying it might find themselves a little burnt tonight.
Could do. Ballers with Sinkiewicz. Yep. Sinkiewicz puts his side. Ainsley back into attack inside the forward 50, but it's only as far as Roberts. Turns around, rebounding out of the forward 50. Oh, quick hands. Good play there, but brought down. That's got to be holding the ball. Surely tackled from behind. Oh, he's got up and played on. And the umpire has said, well, no, I'll let him keep going with that. Instead, it's gone out over the boundary line on the far side of the ground. I thought that was a fair income tackle laid there.
Eastlake crowd on their feet here.
Jeez,
getting vocal.
A few people not happy on that far side of the ground. That's the Eastlake supporters hub. You can see just behind play, so it'll be brought back into play. About 10 metres on the Ainsley attacking side of halfway. What have we played? 29 and a bit in the second term.
I don't think those guys out there are exactly drinking orange juice, Chris, and
Probably
lemonade.
not.
No.
No, there's a few bars operating around the ground this afternoon, but ball in contest. Now that's a tackle, and the ball has been kicked out on the full in a slinging tackle on the far side. So Eastlake, they've got a chance here if they can hang on to the pill. Target in the middle of the ground was Henderson. He takes the grab, but the siren sounds to end the second half. A much better second quarter, I should say. A much better quarter for the Eastlake side there. They put 3 goals on. Ainsley only put 1 on, so at quarter time it was a 28-point margin. At half time it's a 10-point margin. We're going to chip away at it all afternoon, are we, Demons? We'll find out more about it. Luke Francis and Chris Coleman back with more for the second half very soon, but right now, half time in the AFL Grand Final. It's Ainsley 6-5-41, Eastlake 3-5-23 here at Canberra.
So the third term about to get underway here at Monica Oval. Grand final day, AFL Canberra. Askew in the ruck was up against Maynard. Ball comes out towards the commentary side. This is Sinkowitz. Just paddles it towards the line. And it finds its way across the line through McGuinness. Okay, so 41 plays 23 shortly after the long break. Can Eastlake grind their way back into this grand final? Ainsley at the moment on top, shooting for that elusive three-peat. 3 premierships in succession. Maynard gets the ball down to O'Neill, up towards the top of the 50. Coming at it was, well, Wilson, and he got brought to ground heavily. They're going forward. Oh, gee. And they bring it back out again, Eastlake. So the Demons trying to get themselves out of trouble here. Letter, there is a turnover. He wants to fire it straight back in again. Armstrong, one out. Couldn't quite take the mark against Frail. Burning through under the pack. It might have been Hurst, it was. And the Demons again come out of the danger zone, Chris.
O'Rourke it is. He taps it forward into the path of a teammate. I reckon it's Lupton. It is. Lupton turns around, goes the full 360, puts the ball forward now into the path of Burge. Burge has to show a clean pair of heels, gets a hand pass away. Is that O'Rourke again? No, it wasn't. It was Darcy who was the target, but he couldn't control. And the tricolours come back up with it now. Leder turns it around. He's been prolific today, has Leder. You could almost say he's going to have, wait for it, Leder poisoning. Not an effective possession this time, though. Goes with Burge. Burge puts it into the path. Oh, he's dribbled it through. He's put it into the path of a teammate in Darcy, and Shea Darcy. He's put it up to, well, there was nobody there, and it's just rolled and gone through. And the first goal of the third term goes to Eastlake. They got the first goal of the second quarter, and we're back now to just a 12-point margin, Luke.
Yeah, it's just what the doctor ordered, Chris. So Eastlake, that's just what they wanted at the start of this third term. And I tell you what, Ainsley, after that brilliant first term, well, now would start to be a little on edge. So Maynard back in the middle with Askew. How we started this third term. So Ainsley shooting towards the left of screen of the northern end. And the Demons coming back towards the southern end of the right of screen. Now a free kick given away. It's going to go to Costigan. In fact, this is Leder. So Leder feigns the handball to Costigan, goes himself, needs the shepherd from Maynard. If you're going to get a shepherd, Maynard's the man you want it from. Here's Delves and also Wilson after him. And the ball is out of bounds and over the chalk. And the boundary umpire will bring the ball back into play. Beautiful day here at Monica. Absolute ripper. And I tell you what, well, we've got a great game on our hands now. Just the two majors in it. The tricolours leading, shooting for the third premiership quickly off the boot, O'Neill. And Frail sees it across the line. Boy, geez, had to do some work back there today, Frail. He's been working overtime. So here's Wilson. We've seen him today absolutely load up. He goes again, straight down the middle, looking for Askew. Versus Armstrong, border ground. Straight back in now from Richardson, looking for his man in the pocket, but Anderson does well, and he takes the mark. Goes with a short chip kick to Ryle. Now Ryle, he's got time, calling leads forward. A short one. So Eastlake just having time here to sort it out. Deep in the back pocket. As they go out towards centre wing on the far side again. And the mark is taken out there by McMahon, Chris. He's been good, Grange McMahon.
Has been. There's plenty of him around at the moment. We see Elwyn the target. Oh, has he got the mark? No, it's just gone to ground. No, it's been paid.
And that, in fact, came from Flaherty, Chris.
There we go. So now it's Elwyn. Elwyn goes across the field, and that might be McMahon down at this side of the ground. It is indeed. Ball over the boundary line, so it'll be a throw in and attack for the Eastlake Demons. What I liked about Eastlake, they put together 20 really good minutes at the start of that second quarter, and then it all went a bit astray for them, and they've come back with this same game plan. Play in front, play fast footy, and try and avoid kicking to a contest. If they can keep doing that, they're a big chance of winning, but you don't want to be playing against Ainsley in a possession game here. And I tell you what, they're very, very lucky there, Ainsley, not to have given away a free kick. Maynard just came in on that boundary throw-in and just punched it straight back to the boundary line. Maybe it was the fact that he punched it on an angle and it went 10 metres further around that saved him as opposed to perpendicular. But, gee, they're lucky they didn't give away a free kick. Umpire sends it back in again, still inside the forward 50 for the Ainsley Footy Club. It was O'Neill who brought it away for them. Now it comes to Delves, unopposed, takes a mark. Centre wing position. Grandstand side kicks into the man on the mark, so it'll be hot potato contested footy. Little hand pass in there. Winds up in the hands of Tuddy. Tuddy goes a quick 1-2, gets the ball back. He can take a running shot from 50. He elects not to instead. Puts the ball into the path of a teammate. Hot contest for the ball. Fans calling for an umpire to get involved and intervene, but instead it's a clearing kick from Bernasconi. Now that might be... it's just bounced inside the field of play and goes over the line for a boundary throw-in. It'll be just inside the 50, outer side of Manuka Oval. And Eastlake, well, they've got the first one of the third term. If they can get the second one, we'll be back to a 7-point game, and it will be on for young and old. Ball back into the field of play, and attempting to clear it away is Liam O'Neill, but his kick only goes as far. I'll stay with this at the moment as it's Eastlake taking it back inside the forward 50 once again. There's a couple of players underneath it at the post, and Burge tries to take the mark, but it's through just for a point. 6 points the difference.
Yeah, so Elwyn with a shot on goal out of the pack. Gee, a couple of right contests haven't been contested by Eastlake. And I tell you what,
they're just trying to shark it off the tap down from Maynard, aren't they?
Yeah, well, their coach, Pete McGrath, wouldn't be happy about that. There's been no contest and a couple of rucks or rucking duels without the opponent. So that's handy. Hancock takes a good mark. The umpire says play on. So now he's in a bit of trouble, Hancock. Just whacks it on the boot. O'Neill about to be met by Askew. Askew got to it first. He handballs it off now to O'Rourke, and O'Rourke has turned it over. So the tricolours back in towards the middle. Now this is O'Neill again. He's built like a Sherman tank, O'Neill, up towards Solder. Beautiful mitts. And he takes a mark, Solder. So the man on the mark will be right on the edge of the 50. And Solder, well, he's saying to Armstrong, look, I'm going to have a shot. So don't waste your breath leading.
Going to have a crack from 55.
Well, is he foxing? That's the question, Chris. He's looking to load up at this stage. In he comes, Salter. Is he going to go the barrel? No, drop punt it is. It's going, and it's gone through for one behind. So he's had a ping at them, but right now that's out to a 13-point lead for the Tricolours. 6-7-43. They lead Eastlake 4-6-30 at the 7.5-minute mark as Wilson brings it back into play, Chris, with that mighty hoof kick.
Oh, jeez, he does send it all the way into almost to the centre circle. And Eastlake, they're finally playing off this now, as we see it with Lupton. Lupton puts a hand pass into the path of McGuinness. He can go for one. He can go for a second bounce if he's quick. He doesn't need to. He puts the shot forward, and, it just drifts across to the side. Well, that's the fastest we've seen any side go end-to-end here today. What was that, about 16 seconds from end-to-end, I'd reckon. And we're back to the 6-point margin again. Ainsley 6-7-43, Eastlake 4-7-31. And now it's Ainsley not working up the middle of the park, working around the far side of the ground. Good grab taken over there by, I reckon, that Sinkowitz. Bit hard to pick him up in the glare on that white picket fence, but it is indeed him. He turns around now, sends it over, just a short ball, and then gets it back. Approaching towards the centre square, gets around Grange McMahon. McMahon still provides the chase. Sinkowitz able to put the ball into the forward 50. 3-on-1. Ball goes to ground. Plenty of players in over the top of it. Umpire says play on for another moment, but he decides after a second reflection that he's not going to come free. Ironically, just as the ball does pop out from the pack, but it's already been signalled for a ball up. This will take place 35 from the goal, northern end of the ground, which is where Ainsley are attacking. They have a 12-point margin at the moment. as we see charging onto the ball there was Payne. He couldn't get hold of it, but he's got a second chance, turns around, puts it on the left foot over his left shoulder, and it goes past the right goalpost for a point. Ainsley back to a 13-point margin, 6-8-44 they'll be. Eastlake 4-7-31. Third quarter, premiership quarter, and it has been very, very quick here at Manuka as Eastlake bring the ball back into play up the middle of the park. The target once again is Askew. He can't control it. Ball still in dispute. Running through there was Elwyn. He turns back into the pack, and I reckon the umpire will put his whistle to his lips and say, I'll ball it up just inside the centre square at the Ainsley end of the ground.
So O'Rourke is the one lying on the, well, carpet-like playing surface here at Manuka. Picks himself up off the deck. We recommence play here. Askew and Maynard. Big knock away by Maynard. It's not the first time we've seen that today. Ball heads out towards the near side. Our commentary position. Griffiths underneath it. McMahon just tried the old no-look hand pass. And what's the umpire pinned him for here?
I think he said it was high contact.
Gee, obviously. Okay, so McMahon's got it. That was an interesting one. Anyway, McMahon with the ball. And by gee, he's had a bit of this sharing this afternoon. A high loping kick up towards the half-forward flank for the Eastlake Demons. Costigan comes through now. Kazna looking for Payne. Oh, good mitts from Payne. He swings around. He's got Salter ahead of him. Hurst is running for him as well, but Payne's going to hold it up for a minute. And, well, he's going to have a shot also. It looks like at this stage, Payne.
Well, if you're Peter McGrath, the Eastlake Demons coach, you're happy with this because you're forcing Ainsley to take their shots from a distance. They haven't had a shot from close range in quite some time.
Payne loads up on the left foot, across the face of goal, and through for 1- score. So that'll take them to 6-9-45, the tricolours, over the Eastlake Demons, 4-7-31. And we've just ticked over the 11-minute mark, Chris, in his third term. AFL Grand Final day here at Manuka Oval for AFL Canberra.
We've only had the one goal in this third term at the moment, as Sinkowitz takes it out of the centre square for Ainsley, and they decide to work it around the near side of the ground with Wiles comes around this side to Foley, takes the mark just inside the boundary line on the Queanbeyan Tigers logo, in fact. Puts his side back into attack. It'll land just inside the 50. Paul comes off the hands, picked up by Powell. Powell then sends it over to Hurst. Hurst puts the ball goalward from about 50. It's over everybody's head. Payne will be the first man to it if he gets a favourable bounce, which it takes an age for him to get there. Instead of being able to take a shot, he sends a hand pass back out towards the 50-metre arc. So Eastlake, they'll be happy with this. Ainsley, not so much. They've wasted an opportunity here as Eastlake once again on the attack. Send the ball up towards the middle of the park, but it's Wiles underneath it now who's got it. Quickly through the hands, and now it's the Sinkowitz again back into the centre circle, and he's been able to play as a loose man sort of in the middle of the park, which is very, very dangerous, but there's no one able to take any advantage of his kick. His delivery up the ground wasn't that bad. Salter was the man who was the target. Let's face it, it's Salter and Armstrong, the guys who've done the damage on the scoreboard for the tricolours today. So you might as well go for him, but they've been effectively shut out for nearly 2 quarters of this game now. Ball back into play. Still at the attacking end of the ground for Ainsley. But again, it's cleared by Eastlake through McGuinness.
Yes, so McGuinness out to the far side. This is Camp. Anderson after him quickly. You want to hurry up, Camp. Well, he ended up in a ton of trouble. And in the end, the Demons won the ball back. So they've done well here. Ends up with Hancock. Well, now he gets it on. Anderson back to Darcy. They haven't really gone anywhere in the last few seconds. Gets the ball over the top to Roberts, his teammate. The tricolours intervene, though. And do they win it back? No. Turned over again. Still on the ground. Hacked off the ground by Costigan. Hancock again ends up with it. I just dropped it. And the umpire said, yep, dropped it cold, son. I'm going to have to ping you. So Phillips with the ball now for the tricolours. As we get past the 13-minute mark in the third term. And the Eastlake Demons, well, they've really got to get a wriggle on now because despite the margin not being that big, they haven't looked like scoring of late. Now it comes back to Mesman. Mesman in the centre, and he said that Armstrong has overrun the mark, the umpire, so this will be 50.
I reckon he got it right.
Chris, so this is a huge moment in the context of this game. There's no doubt about that. We're just talking about how desperate the Eastlake Demons are to get a goal. And, well, here's their chance. What's he done, Mesman? He's gone short. He's missed his man in Elwyn over the back of the pack. Going in hard was Kuzner. Spills out. And that was through Lupton. And we've got another ball up, Chris.
They really needed to hit the target there. That's been the problem all afternoon for Eastlake. They've just been unable to hit the target at critical junctures, and they needed that. Mesman was just too far out to score, was always going to go short, but couldn't get onto a target. Now, Flaherty was one in there. Also in there was Elwyn, but again, it's coming away via the tricolours, and this is with Foley now. Foley onto the far side of the ground. Who's he got over there? I reckon it might be Horner. They turn it around further, getting into the path of Jamison. Jamison in the flaming orange boots turns it back. Now it's once again with Horner. They put it further forward. Is it Foley this time?
Yep, it is.
It is indeed. He's right over on the centre wing position. They bring it back inboard. Jamison again. Easy to pick. He was on his own. Now he's got Camp on his inside. Elects not to go short. I just wonder whether Ainsley are still playing as though they're 50 points up or 30 points up as opposed to 13 points up. Well, actually 14 if we do the maths properly. And again, they've wasted possession going into the forward line. Ainsley, look, the game plan worked for them in the first quarter, but Eastlake have been clever for most of the game since then and have managed to reel them back in. Do Ainsley need to do something different, Luke, or do they just need to slow it down just a smidge?
No, it's a good point you make, Chris, about probably playing well Q in the rack football. They've certainly slowed it down. They just need to keep attacking, but what you've got to do first is get your hands on the pill, don't you? Because Eastlake have had their fair share of it in this quarter, but they just haven't been able to capitalise on the scoreboard, and they must do so. Here's Mitch Frail. No matter what happens, or what the result is at the conclusion of this game, I know one thing, Mitch Frail will sleep well tonight. By gee, he's had to do some work back there. Now, here's Delves. So, what can he do?
Here.
Delves. Well, he's going to go the right foot snap around the body. He's got it. He loves it. And so too does the Tricolours crowd. And, well, that could be a big moment in the context of this game. Because right now, the Ainsley Tricolours shoot out 7-9-51 to Eastlake's 4-7-31. A 20-point lead. And, well, a 4-goal break now, Chris. And I tell you what, don't the Eastlake Demons need the next one?
Well, they do. They probably need the next couple. They cut the quarter-time margin from 28 to 18 at half-time, but it's back out in Ainsley's favour by 20 now.
So Delves, probably with the goal of the day, it'd probably be fair to say, wouldn't it, up until this point?
From about there, I'd reckon so. You've got a feel for Wilson. He was coming out onto that ball and just couldn't get a hang on it. And it was one of those unfortunate ones where as it slipped out of his hands, it bounced onto his foot and went out on the full. But Eastlake, they're not going to give up just yet as we see the ball go through from Horner for the Tricolours into the path of Costigan. Costigan sends it downfield, finds Foley. Foley into the forward line. Good body work from Payne, and Payne takes a comfortable mark, just nudges his opponent out of the way, gets himself set. And Payne, no stranger to the goals. He's scored 27 across the course of the season, averaging 3 goals a game when he's been out there playing for the Tricolours this season. And this one, if he can get it, it'll be his first for the grand final and put his side back to a 5-goal break. Not a bad looking kick off the boot, but it wobbles away to the left and it's through for a minor score, 7-10-52. Ainsley move on to 4-7-31 Eastlake.
So Eastlake, well, they're hanging in there. They certainly don't need another one from the Tricolours now. Here's Frail. As I said, has done an absolute power of work down the line to Stibbart. Stibbart finds Elwyn. Elwyn inside ball to McMahon. By gee, he's played well, McMahon. Right foot around the body, but turns it over. Just no one back there. That's right. So they come away through Richardson this time. And he went to Taylor and on to Stinkowich. I'm sure he's happy me calling him that rather than Sinkowich. Thanks for not correcting me, Chris, on that one. Horner. Back inside now to Kuzner. Out wide to Griffiths. So what can Griffiths do? He's got time, but he sees it out. His opponent was Henderson, and the boys were happy to see it over the chalk on the far side. So 52 plays 31 on a wonderful day here at Monica. And the Tricolours edging closer to that 3rd flag in a row, Chris.
19-minute mark approaching. Ball back into the field of play. Right now, it's out in undisputed territory. We'll wait and see if anyone can do anything with it. Well, they can't other than run over the boundary line, so we'll get another throw in. Should mention the boundary umpires this afternoon, by the way. Liam Cashin, I think I've seen him in action in a few NEFL games this season. Ian Edwards, Cameron Fidge, Matthew Thompson. The goal umpires, Rod Burns and David Bellew. And well done to the umpires on their grand final appointments for 2018. And thus far today, I reckon the men in the lime green have had a fairly decent afternoon. Let's see, the ball comes out here. It does. Punched away by, is it Johnson over there on the far side? Plenty of hot potato as we see the ball coming into the forward 50 now for the Ainsley Footy Club. Waiting for the hand pass, calling for it was Wiles. He gets the hand pass. He takes the little chip shot over the top to Payne. Payne can't do anything with it. Ball goes to ground. It wasn't Payne, it was Salter in fact. Now there's Payne in over the top. But it's again in at the bottom of a pile, and we'll see another ball up.
Just moments ago you were talking about the umpires, Chris. With such a strong focus on the decision-making, we forget just how many Ks they clock up. Gee, the odometer would be running high. You forget, don't they? Like, they've covered so much territory, particularly here at Marnica Day today as Payne takes a mark. It's
a huge ground. Playing surface here, I think, is actually marginally bigger than the playing surface at the MCG. And in a game like this, which has really been played end-to-end, and to testify to that, there's no one in the other half of the ground at the moment. So very much end-to-end stuff. It's not just the players who rack up the Ks, it is the umpires. Now Payne, well, he missed a relatively easy one a few moments ago. He's got a harder shot here. Oh, and the fans behind the goal tell you the story. He's put it through for a snag roll. And Payne gets his first for the day. He becomes the fourth goal scorer for the Ainsley Tricolours. And they scored plenty in the first term. They've scored a couple in this third term, and they move on to 8-10-58. Eastlake 4-7-31. Eastlake need a couple of goals here before the final break. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long way home for them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's right, Chris Coleman. It will be hard work from here as players slowly make their way back to the centre. So Payne putting his first six-pointer on the board for the day. Askew up against Maynard again in the middle. Here we go. And we've got an infringement here, have we, on the centre square? I think there may have been a runner inside the square. Yep, there was. So the kick will go the way of the Tricolours. Maynard sends it forward again. It was the last thing the Demons needed. And Armstrong has taken the mark. Well, they'll be dirty on their runner. Look, things happen. But that's the last thing they needed at this stage of a grand final.
Just makes that goal from Payne almost a 12-point play now, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah, talk about pain in the true sense of the word. So here's Armstrong. Huge man. Strolls in. He'll strike it from about 40 out. And he doesn't like it at all. It's faded away and just scraped in for 1- score. 59 plays 31. 22 minutes gone here. Marnica Oval. Nation's capital at this magnificent venue. Chris Coleman and Luke Francis with you. We certainly hope you're enjoying the coverage on NITV for AFL Canberra. And for those who are tuning in on the live stream, he's a massive kick, isn't he, Wilson, Chris?
Well, he's kicked that to Costigan, who was next to the centre circle.
Oh, amazing.
I said Val Perovic before. How about Ange Christie? Is that closer to your vintage, mate?
Well, I wonder how he goes with latching onto a torp, Chris, because I tell you what, we've seen one of our young Australians end up recently with the Seattle Seahawks.
I was going to say, I wonder how he'd go with an NFL football.
I'll tell you what, let's go down and see if we can sign him up. Can we manage this guy,
sure.
Wilson?
No, 10%. Those kickers are on about $1 million a year, so 10%, that's $100,000 each.
Righto, well, we might get down to the shed straight after this.
I'll just make a few mental notes here. Alex Wilson. Potential punter, New England Patriots. I'd like that.
Yeah.
8-12-60 now. Ainsley after another behind. 4-7-31 as we see the Demons work it straight up the middle of the park. It's with Kieran O'Rourke. He's had a fairly decent game this afternoon. Plenty of possessions for him. Goes for the 45-degree angle kick. And Jamison, who's been one of the best for the Tricolours this afternoon, gets underneath it, takes an easy mark, contested mark, but makes it look easy. Oh, and this is Ainsley now saying, right, we've done basically enough to win this one. We've only got to hang on to the pill. still as they work it around the far side of the ground. Richardson it was who had the first crack at it. Now, who's calling for it in the middle? Costigan calling for it in the middle. Instead, they go longer.
Yep.
Waiting underneath was Griffiths. It was a 3-on-1 ball, and now it'll be the Demons to pick it up through Lupton. Lupton has to wait and turn around, puts it forward, contested footy. Burge in front of it will be able to get there. No, it's knocked away from him. Instead, it's O'Rourke again into the pack. Now he puts a stabbing kick in towards the forward line. I reckon that might be Johnson. It is Johnson. He has to try and dribble it through, but there's far too much black jersey material in the way there, and it'll be Max Richardson who taps it through for a rush behind for 8:32 will be Eastlake. Ainsley 8-12-60, 24 gone in the third quarter.
So Taylor tried to find Johnson. It then came on to Camp. Camp kicks it up towards Foley. Foley now on to Taylor. So Taylor's away. And he heads towards Armstrong against Frail. Armstrong in front, couldn't quite take it. Hurst on the left foot, got smothered by Frail. Wilson, left-hand hand pass. Out of trouble to Ryle, or back into trouble, in fact. Hurst pounces on it. As Eastlake come through again, that was Ryle again. Oh, gee, Tutty went to ground. So the Eastlake Demons finally get away through Henderson. Now Burge. Now the Tricolours get a chance through Costigan to grab and snare possession back, wrapped up. And the umpire says, give it to me, boys. And again, we'll put the ball up. So 25 gone here in the third term, and it's going to be mighty hard from Eastlake to peg back the Tricolours from here. But the old chestnut, stranger things have happened. And right now, it's just favouring the right-hand side of screen. Or the southern end here at Monica. Maynard was up against Mesman in the ruck. Sinkowicz pounces on it. Looked like a throw from here. The umpire said play on. And again, all tied up.
Crucial bounce here for Eastlake to keep this game alive. They're 4.5 goals down. They need to get this one. Unfortunately, it goes away from them into the path of Ryle, but he can't do anything with it. And once again, it bounces back for the Tricolours, and it was Camp who sent it forward. He was looking for Griffiths, but Griffiths unable to get to the ball. It bounces, takes a right turn out over the boundary line on the far side of the park. 26 gone in this third quarter, so still a couple of minutes left, you would imagine, of time on here. I'll wait and see how Eastlake go. Standing on his own at the moment is Maynard for the contest.
Yeah, that's ordinary, isn't it? Grand final day.
Mate, and there we go. It's a short quarter because the siren's gone. I was just looking. I actually dropped the binoculars to see if there was anyone contesting that ruck contest with Maynard. There was nobody.
It's not the first time it's happened today either.
No, it makes no difference though on that occasion because the three-quarter time siren has sounded. A short third quarter, but with one to go, well, Eastlake, they've got it all to do. Ainsley, they've got one hand on their third successive premiership right now. It's the Tricolours 8-12-60. Eastlake 4-8-32 at three-quarter time. Let's go.
Bit of crowd interaction. What do you reckon, Kate? Another story for you. Maynard and Askew, Chris.
Yep.
McMahon's been the best player on the losing team.
The ball held aloft to start the final term, and the Ainsley Tricolours, well, they've just about done enough, you'd think, to wrap up a third successive AFL Canberra Premiership. But the Eastlake Demons, if they can get the first couple, they may just be able to put a last-minute challenge together. At the moment, though, it is all red, white and black on the grandstand side of Manuka Oval, and a strong grab taken by Delves. Turns around, they muck around with it, it comes back to Delves, and now this time he goes boot to ball, puts them into attacking territory. There's more white and red jerseys there, but it's with Salter. Salter puts the Ainsley side into attack. Into the forward territory, attempted punch on from Anderson. He can't do anything with it, and taken to the ground. There is Armstrong, I reckon, but he's been brought to the ground, doesn't matter. Tackled, and the umpire will ball it up. 45 out from the goals of the Ainsley Tricolours. 28 points the difference. We've seen Eastlake in patches do some good stuff here, Luke, but consistency has cost them dearly so far today.
Yes, Chris, as Darcy brings it away for the Demons. Nothing ahead, though, just a real nothing kick. A turnover straight away back to Maynard, the big man. Goes out wide. So the Tricolours have time just to really settle this down. Out wide they go. Slapped on the boot. Over the top of Hurst. Hurst trying to win the ball back. Brought to ground here. Askew onto Foley and over the top. Trying to find his teammate in Stibbart. Stibbart got swung around. Still both teams vying for it. And, well, no, it's play on. So O'Neill with a quick one out of the pack. Up towards Payne. What can Payne do from here? And ball out of bounds, Chris, right in front of the Hendo, number 40 sign. Do you reckon Hendo
I reckon that's
from Eastlake's made that sign for himself there or not? Well, James Henderson?
Someone's made it for him and they've abandoned it. They've left it on the fence. There's not a supporter within 100 metres of that part of the ground because that's the construction site for the new media centre here. But Hendo,
looks like someone's just ripped the sheets off the double bed in the spare room, Chris, and just made the Hendo 40 sign. I reckon the spare bedroom would be missing the bed sheets.
And a mate of mine and I did that at the MCG once back in the 1980s. We took a sheet. We took a sheet
cricket
off
or footy?
Cricket. Greg Matthews banner we made.
What did it say? Can you tell us?
Not on a family-friendly broadcast.
Yeah,
we
okay.
got in a little bit of trouble, both for stealing the sheet, for stealing the paint from my mate's father, and for putting the sign up at the MCG.
Oh, dear.
Story for me to tell you after full time, perhaps, as we see the ball back in the field of play, and it is now Cuzner for the Ainsley Tricolours first to it, but he overruns it. Back in the bottom of the pack. I saw Sinkowitz in there as well. The ball is kicked out hurriedly towards the boundary line, and as has been the tradition this afternoon, every time there's been a ball sent anywhere remotely near the boundary line, players from both hands putting their from both teams rather putting their hands up, saying, "Oh, surely that was deliberate," which is kind of interesting when it's kicked out by one of those teams, but. Comes back into the field of play again. We see the throw in, centre wing position. There's been a lot of footy on that side of the ground this afternoon. Still in dispute. Over the top of Tutty for Eastlake now. Tapping it in front of himself is Burge. He runs around, wheels onto his left. A la the man from Snowy River. Ball punched away, and once again it is with the Ainsley Tricolours. They go into attack off the boot of Costigan. Costigan, he was looking there for Delves, but Delves couldn't control. And so it was Anderson now for Eastlake. Anderson puts it to the path of McGuinness. McGuinness, he tries to control it, has a second, maybe even a third attempt, but he can't get a hang on it, and it winds up rolling over the boundary line. So we're back where we were about 45 seconds ago, Luke Francis.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. So if you've just tuned in, Ainsley with a pretty good break here in the final term in the GF for 2018 AFL Canberra. 60 plays 32 as we get towards the 4-minute mark. And, well, they've quite simply been too good today. Still some footy to be played in this grand final yet with the Tricolours. Well, it almost Seems like a mere formality that they will claim their third flag in succession. Ball comes back into play over on that far side. Wiles off the ground. This is Horner now. He'll get descended inside 50. He's looking for Salter. Try to pick it up on the half volley. Still searching for it, Salter. In the end, he just hacks it off the ground. Tricolours going backwards to go forward here. Henderson brought one of the Tricolours to ground. Darcy up towards the half-forward flank, but very wide for Flaherty. He's had a quiet day. So have a few of the Demons. And the ball goes out of bounds under the Jack Fingleton scoreboard at the pool end or northern end. And again, we have a stoppage. Play to recommence. Umpire end over end back into play. Wiles and also Lupton were fighting for it. Maynard just crunched one of the Demons into the ground. Now McGuinness underneath it. O'Neill on top of him. And there's been a free kick given to McGuinness. So back he comes. Inside the attacking zone again. Oh, over the top there was D'Souza. Absolutely crunched Flaherty, his teammate. And, they just couldn't gain anything from that one, Chris, unfortunately for the Demons.
No, they've really got to roll the dice and throw everything at it. And they're in all sorts of trouble here now, this Eastlake side. They've stopped Ainsley from scoring since three-quarter time, but haven't been able to add anything themselves, so it's still a 28-point game. Need to correct something I said earlier, too. I said the playing surface here bigger than the MCG. Not anymore. Since the redevelopment here, no, they've knocked a few metres off it. So if you're wondering, 162 metres end-to-end, 138 side-to-side, which is about 10 shorter and 10 narrower than the MCG, but it's still a very, very big ground and lots of metres being run up on it. Eastlake into attack again here, and it's an easy uncontested mark for Kieran O'Rourke. Doesn't get too many goal-scoring opportunities. This one's probably going to be right on the edge of his range. He'll be kicking from about 47, but he is directly in front, and he's decided, and why not? He's decided to just have a ping at it. Played every game bar one for Eastlake this season.
Dearly need this. O'Rourke lines up and he misses. So, it's been the story of the day, hasn't it, Chris? So they go to 4-9 now, Eastlake. And Taylor will bring this football back in on the left-hand side of screen, the northern end, feigns and then goes back to the outer side. Oh, ordinary kick in the end. Just got clipped. Comes back through Lupton, and Lupton has found Burge. And will there be a 50 for a late hit? The umpire's going over to have a discussion. And the boys want to go with it. McGuinness is not happy with Camp. Elwyn is in there. In the meantime, Burge plays on. He's gone wide.
Not sure
My
why.
goodness, he's gone wide. Yeah, that's a interesting option, Chris. So he's gone right out to the D'Souza. I don't know. I'm not sure of I don't know how far Burge's kicking range is, but he's chosen D'Souza hard up against the fence here. Anyway, D'Souza will have a shot. So he comes in the 19, Guernsey, Samuel D'Souza, and Sam has missed it to that side, Chris. So another point for Eastlake, and 60 plays 34, almost 8 minutes gone in the final term.
Yeah, Eastlake just the 4 goal scorers today. Ironically, Ainsley just the 4 goal scorers today, but they've had multiples from Salter and Armstrong this afternoon. Ainsley bring it back around, looking there for Delves. He couldn't control it, sent it into the bottom of the pack, eventually gets booed on the ball. Maynard was the man who had it, but they've lost it. It's gone to Darcy. Darcy takes a snap from outside 40, and it goes outside the behind post, out on the full.
Just can't buy a goal at the moment, can they?
Not really. It's been the story of the day. How far's he run there? He's gone very close to his full measure. Umpire says play on, and we see it now come down into the hands of Foley. Foley then onto Jamison. Jamison looking forward, but he can only get it as far as Askew. Askew has to turn around, wheels around onto his left, sends it now in towards centre half forward. It's taken by Elwyn. Elwyn too far out to score, but the man in the bright yellow boots is Burge. He's lost it in the sun for a second, gets it, has to run, take a shot on the run. Oh, he puts it into the goal square. That's smart play. Suspect it may have actually gone through, but instead he's going to make sure of it by putting it onto the chest of, is it McGuinness down there?
D'Souza.
Oh, it's D'Souza. D'Souza's come through. And D'Souza, well, he had an opportunity earlier. That one's a lot easier for him, and D'Souza gets his second for the day. First goal of the last term goes to Eastlake, and, well, there's still a flicker of hope.
So only a short time ago, Chris, we saw Burge and we spoke about how wide he went to D'Souza. Well, that one was fortuitous from Burge to D'Souza, right in the goal square. That's how he'd prefer them, D'Souza. And he's popped that one straight through for a major. 60 plays 40. I tell you what, Ainsley.
They can't shut up shop.
No, and I'll tell you what. 10-minute mark. Won't the crowd lift if the Demons get the next one? So it's Maynard versus D'Souza, who's come into the ruck now. And he means business, D'Souza, and he gets it. Well, wasn't all that clean. It got knocked out of his hands. Wilson tried to come at it. Now this is Delves onto the right boot. At the back is Payne. What can he do from here? Payne one out at the moment. Was he held? The umpire said play on. The crowd wanted a free kick. Payne, now he's ridden into the ground. Wilson gets a hand pass out. And after it now is Armstrong with also Roberts for Eastlake. And the ball has gone out of bounds. So can Eastlake sense that, well, they're still alive well and truly, but if they don't get the next one, there might be curtains here at Monica, Chris.
I think they needed to just really flood into the centre after that last bounce. They needed to have every man on the edge of the centre square and just get some numbers in there. It's what they've. It's the times they've looked best is when they've had more numbers at the ball, and they've just got to do it. There's nothing to be lost at this point. They need 4 goals, and they need 4 goals in about 17 minutes. That's not an unmanageable equation.
You've got to run and carry the ball. Yeah. It's just, it's easy from up here, though, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. Say that. You know, all the top-grade games that you and I played between the two of us, hey?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Let's see if the Demons can get away with it. Well, they've got the ball now. Who have they got upfield?
They are running, carrying. This is what they need.
This is exactly it. Now, they've got Anderson. He's got further up the field in Askew. He goes further than that man. No, it was indeed Askew who was there, but he couldn't mark it. It's 3-on-1 in favour of the Tricolours. Cuzner puts the clearing kick in, sends them back in towards centre half forward. And now it's 3-on-1 in the white and red jerseys, and it comes into the hands of Stibbard. Stibbard from right on the 50-metre arc. He finds the ball onto the chest of a teammate, and they're looking further forward. Burge has moved into full forward. He gets there, takes the mark, and the goal square, plays on, puts it through for a goal.
So it came from O'Rourke. Burge has got it, and all of a sudden, this game is back alive.
That's what you want in a grand final. You want some drama.
Oh, gee. Well... Okay.
6-10-46 Eastlake. Ainsley 8-12-60. 14 points the difference. Well, at 26 points it was looking pretty good. At 20 points it was looking okay. Now at 14...
It's a genuine worry here now, isn't it, for Ainsley? They really need the next one.
Any Ainsley fans down there starting to chew their nails? No. Not yet. Not yet. One more they might.
Okay.
Back in the middle, Luke Francis.
Yeah, Chris, here we go. Maynard up against D'Souza. Game in the balance. GF in the balance. Can they win? They're third in a row. The Tricolours. Eastlake desperately trying to claim their first in 17 years. Well, they're slowly but surely starting to reel the Tricolours in. It would be a massive effort. It's right on now. What's the umpire going to claim here?
Yes.
Yep, he's gone cold.
Had to be.
Yes, so we'll go back to Eastlake. And will there be a 50? Camp holding him up, is he? The umpire will, with common sense, just letting it go. Ball comes on now to Stibbard. Stibbard, got a link up here. Tries to find a teammate, he does.
This is what they did in the second quarter,
Luke. Yes, he's gone out wide to try and find Johnson. So they are wide, but they still hold possession here, the Demons. So what can Johnson do? He swings it in. It's out wide. Ball knocked away at the back by Taylor. Darcy off to Flaherty. He's been quiet today around the body, but the mark is taken by Powell. And, the Tricolours hold up again in defence, Chris.
They'll take their time here. Just smart footy from the side that's in front. Elevated kick around onto the far side of the ground. Has that gone out on the full? It has.
Oh, my God.
He's let it sit up there, so Johnson will get another chance now. He's got in at centre half forward if he spots him. He's got Grange McMahon. He's on his own. Instead, they come back on the inside. Was that Frail who dropped it? He's a long way from home and has gone into the path of Griffiths. Now, Griffiths goes for one bounce. He goes for a second. He can go for 5 or 6 if he wants to. He's gone for 3. He's gone for 4. He's out at the 50-metre mark. He puts it into the path of his full forward, and it was Payne who was trying to mark it. He couldn't get it. He's punched it away, and now the rebound is on very quickly for this Eastlake side.
Yes, it is, and it goes on to Johnson. He has to clean up from that mistake he made earlier. It was an awful kick to Frail, and it made him look, well, pretty ordinary. But the Demons have got the ball back now. They're on the edge of the 50. What can they do from here? After it is Sinkowicz. He's taken out of bounds. And, well, Eastlake starting to lift. And there's a free kick given. Oh, gee, okay. Well, that's interesting. Thought might just throw it in there, but the ball is going back to Sinkowicz. He's going to be pushed around.
It's not a popular decision.
Yep, so Scott Sinkowicz. Long kick out wide, a turnover straight away, so Eastlake have a chance to fire it straight back in again. Out on centre wing. Far side. In they go. What can they do? Flaherty over the top. Darcy couldn't take it. It's now with Costigan. Costigan tries to get it out of the danger zone now for the Tricolours. Going back now for Eastlake was Ryle. Ryle, well, underground kick now. Tries to find a teammate. He's wrapped up by Maynard, and in fact he squashes the Eastlake Demon, Maynard. He's a very big man. And one of the Demons has to dig himself out of the turf, and that is D'Souza. And I tell you what, he's clutching at his ribs too, D'Souza. I would be too if Maynard cleaned me up. Now coming away was Lupton. Okay, so this is the scenario, Chris. I've almost got 16 minutes in this final tournament. It's a 14-point lead at the moment. Ainsley lead Eastlake 60 to 46.
Eastlake need the next one. Well, they need 3, and they don't need Ainsley to score another one. But Ainsley, well, they've won every game they've played since the 5th of May. And let's not forget that. They started the season 0-3, and then they went 12 and 0 for the rest of the regular season and won their other final. So they've won 13 in a row to get to the decider.
Yes, so in the regular season, 12-3.
Eastlake never won more than 3 games in a row. In fact, they come into this grand final on a 3-game winning streak, so they'd be looking for their longest streak of the season. It's not done yet, but with a pass like that, and passing like that's been what Ainsley's been about all across the course of the season. They've got plenty of players up forward, and it's Payne is the target. He's deep in the pocket. He's got the grab. He'll take the shot from here, from right up, well, almost in front of the Hendo 40 sign that you mentioned earlier there, Luke. So, and you'd imagine this one will be game over, and it will be time to start popping the champagne corks. But if he only puts it through for a point, Eastlake get the ball back, and we've seen them a couple of times today traverse this 160 metres of Manuka.
Manana.
Time. He's gone the outside. It curls, it wobbles, and it goes through for a point. So, well, the difference between 14 and 15 ain't that much in the grand scheme of things. 17 minutes, so still 1 minute of regular time plus time on to go. Eastlake need 3 goals. Straight up the middle. That's where they've got to go.
What Wilson can do with a cherry. He goes out wide on this occasion. Mark taken by Horner straight away. Eastlakes didn't contest it.
They had 4 players on their own in the middle of the park there, Luke.
Poor
Wrong
footy.
option.
Horner. Back into Delves. He takes the mark. So Delves will take all the time in the world here, you'd think, to have a shot on goal. He must be 40 out. And, well, Wilson to man the mark here. So Delves, very deliberate, spinning the Sharon in his hands. Has a good look at the big sticks. Very deliberate approach. Drop punt. Drop short. Jamison has taken it. Well, that hurts and stings. So Jamison with the mark no further than 5 metres out. And he will come out to about 20 metres from goal, Chris. He'll stroll in. And, well, this could be absolute curtains here for the Canberra Demons.
Not only does it hurt on the scoreboard, it hurts on the clock.
Eastlake Demons, so, yep.
It hurts on the clock because Had the shot from Delves where he just went through the full routine and then dropped it in short. And that may well just be the premiership deciding goal. Far too easy for Jamieson. I'd put him down, and I know it's hard. I always find it difficult when calling the game to try and pick best on the ground out there, but he's been involved in a lot today for the Tricolours at both ends of the park. He'd be up there in my voting.
Seems to link up in the old 1-2-2 a lot, Jamieson. You'll see him run on and gain possession in the same play. But that was a nice mark. Dropping short. 21
points the difference, so Eastlake now need 4 goals in time on. That one really does hurt. And it's been the story of the afternoon. Ainsley have been good enough when it's mattered. Every time the contest has really been called on for someone to put their foot down, it's been Ainsley who've done it. And once again, they go into attack, waiting underneath it. Well, that's going to be Wiles, and he just sets himself. And despite a little bit of push and shove, he gets a very strong mark just on 50.
We're sort of getting into that time too, Chris, where everyone wants a goal in the grand finals.
Oh, yeah.
So Wiles is going to take his opportunity here, you'd think.
Well, he's only got 9 for the season. He's not a prolific goal kicker. Mind you, you don't really need to be a prolific goal kicker at Ainsley when you've got players like Payne, who came into this game with about 27, Jamieson with 20-odd, and Armstrong, who had 47 before the game today. He brought up his 50th in this grand final, and you can see from that kick why Wiles isn't a prolific goal kicker. It didn't even make 35 metres, and it's fallen short. And we'll get a ball up about 15 out now from the Ainsley goals at the Manuka end of UNSW Canberra Oval. Still 21 points the difference. 20 minutes gone, final term.
Armstrong versus Askew. Askew, he's tried hard all day. He's wrapped up. Ball spilled out of there. Jamieson again around the body. He's got it. And that will do it, you'd think now. So Jamieson with his second goal within about 2 minutes. And the Tricolours are on their way to 3 flags in succession.
You talk about everyone wanting a goal in the grand final. Well, you can guarantee that in 20 and 25 years' time, Ben Jamieson will be able to say, well, what about the 2 that I got in the 2018 Premiership decider? The first one, okay, yeah, it was a lead and take a mark off a shot that fell short, but that one, that is a classy Rovers goal, and well done to Ben Jamieson. 10-13-73 the Tricolours, the Demons 6-10-46. And I'm just looking to see if they've started pulling the champagne bottles out from the dressing rooms just yet. Not yet. They're going to keep a lid on it.
The slow chant was coming up from underneath it, wasn't it? Still is, Chris, from the Tricolours supporters. Some of them more under the influence than others, if we can say that. Rightio, we're underway again. And coming through was Elwyn. Got taken off it. O'Neill. And there will be a free kick given to Elwyn. Looked like he caught one high. That might be McGuinness, is it? No, that is Elwyn. So it is Elwyn. Handballs off to Wilson. He's tried hard all day. Long kick. Oh, backing back and a nice mark taken.
He's hurt himself too.
Yeah. Back there by Bernasconi. And Bernasconi, well,
he was one of their best in the first half.
Rush to get rid of it. Now hands it off to Richardson. A kick up towards Maynard. He couldn't quite take it. The Eastlake Demons come into the attacking zone. Bernasconi went up for it again. Ball brought to ground. And the umpire will take the Sharon here. So 22 minutes gone. 73 plays 46 again. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of this year's 2018 AFL Canberra Grand Final. Chris Coleman and Luke Francis with you for NITV. And if you're tuning in on the screen, we hope you've enjoyed the coverage on a magnificent day weather-wise here in the nation's capital. We really had great fun bringing it to you. Well done to Daniel and Angus behind the cameras today, doing a great job alongside us here. Now Horner ends up with it, and there's been someone fouled after the play here, and O'Neill doesn't like it. We'll just see who that was. It was Jamieson, so he's been brought down, Chris, and now there's a scuffle late in the grand final. No one needs this. The game's virtually decided, so we hope that this fades out.
Tell you what, it's been a pretty big day for Ainsley. 3 grand finals. 3 premierships.
I tell you what, it'll be an even bigger night.
Well, yeah, it will be. They won't pick up the women's game because they're not in that one.
Hello, now it's really on behind the play here.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I might just keep an eye on that, Chris.
You watch that as the ball is over on the far side of the field. There's more players involved in the stink than chasing the ball at the moment. Coming in hard was Tutty over on that far side of the ground. Now we've got about 6 players in there, and the fight, is it still going? I know it's dispersed now.
Yeah, that's it, Chris. I think everyone actually came to their senses and realised it just simply wasn't worth it.
Oh, well, you want to play every game next year if you're still playing. McGuinness, the last man up with the ball. Umpire tosses it up in the air. Punch comes from Maynard. Long punch putting his side into attack, but it goes over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in 60 around from the Ainsley Tricolours goal. 24-minute mark now of this final term. 27 points the margin. It's been there or thereabouts since about halfway through the first quarter. Eastlake got up within 3 goals on a couple of occasions, but they were never really able to bridge the gap beyond that. And we're seeing now Ainsley doing what they've done to sides all year. As Salter takes a long bomb from outside 50 or just on the arc, and it's just long enough. And he gets his 4th for the day, his first since the first term. And Ainsley move on to 11-13-79, Eastlake 6-10-46. As I mentioned before, though, big day for the Ainsley Footy Club. They picked up the win in the Rising Stars, so the under-18s earlier this afternoon was Heath Beaumont. If you dial back through the AFL Canberra streams, you'll see the mark that he took after the siren and showed plenty of composure to put that one through and pick up the win. It was a fairly comfortable win for Ainsley over Queanbeyan in the reserve grade fixture. And in this one, well, in the end, it is going to run out to be a fairly comfortable win for Ainsley as they pick up their 3rd successive title. And they've won a hatful of titles since 1990. This Ainsley Football Club, they've been very, very strong. They're going to get another one this afternoon with only a couple of minutes left to play. But they're still out there up against the Eastlake Demons, and a hand pass coming out from under the pack by Wilson, but only goes as far as Foley. It's the rugby style up and under, but it's only gone as far as Frail. He's been good in defence.
Oh, geez, tried hard, Frail. So here they come. Hancock for Eastlake. Out wide here, McMahon tried to meet it, and so too McGuinness. Camp, though, now McGuinness gets a hand to it. For Eastlake, he's brought to ground, bowled over by Jamison. Which way is this one going? I don't think we ever really know. And hello, there's a 50, so...
Well, one umpire, I think, went one way, the other went the other.
Yeah, when those 2 players collide like that with that below-the-knees rule, I don't think anyone really knows where it's going. And so the player can be forgiven for kicking it away after the free kick was given, in my opinion. Jamison's got the ball now.
He's got the free, so he's going to get a shot at his 3rd here, his 3rd in the final term. He's going to have to go close to best on ground now, you'd reckon.
The umpire shifting him around. So look at those bright fluoro boots he's got on. They've racked up a few metres today. So Jamison about to put another dagger in the heart of the Eastlake Demons. Comes in and he sprayed it to the right. And it's gone through for 1 minus score. So they will claim their 6th flag in 9 years for Tricolours, Chris, as we get up to the 26.5-minute mark of the final term. 11-14-80. Ainsley lead. Eastlake 6-10-46. This is Elwyn. Feigns one way, goes out of the outer side, looking for McMahon again. Boy, geez, had the share on a lot today, McMahon. Grange McMahon on the right foot, goes long. It looks like Phillips back. There it is. And he takes a magnificent backman's mark in the final stages of the grand final. And, well, he's just eating up the clock, Chris. And there's a siren. So they have done it. The Tricolours complete the 3-peat. What an effort. After a slow start of the season, they have finished like a steam train, absolutely taking everything in their path in the finals. And again, the Ainsley Tricolours have won their 6th flag in 9 years, Christopher Coleman.
11-14-80, their final score. The Chris Rourke coached Ainsley Tricolours getting up by 34 over the Eastlake Demons, 6-10-46. For Ainsley, it was goals 4 to Salter, 3 to Armstrong, 2 to Jamison and single to Delves and Payne. And for Eastlake, it was 2 to D'Souza and singles to Darcy, Lupton and Burge. But in the end, the Ainsley side, as their theme song sounds out, they pick up the 2018 AFL Canberra Premiership title. This has been Chris Coleman and Luke Francis for NITV and the AFL Canberra live stream.
Before us get started, just want to make a special mention to Doug Gordon, who's here today. Premiership trophy is named after Jack Gordon, also finished up James Stevens present here today. Without another one of the game, congratulations to the other guys today. Our field up on today with Samuel Further. Daniel Wilcox. I'm going to see how the same leaders. Now, Ben, you got boys tonight. Playing tackle. Being Edward. Cameron Finch. Matthew Thompson. Lots of ball at all the outside of the fourth service. And David Keller. Big round of applause for our guys today. Thank you very much. And I'd like to ask Peter Brown to make a couple of one saying to work behind this team.
Just first of all, we've got a nice football club. Obviously, all three guys today, so fantastic. Lee, Courtney, Bruce, Colin, serving today. Fantastic here and all that. To our players, we had some fantastic all year. It is heartbreaking. This does hurt, but we'll make a good contribution here. Yeah, well, just the rest of the congratulations on the career, so thank you guys, and we wish you all the future. To everyone else who has supported by teams tonight, this is a great day for Canberra. Hopefully we continue on this sort of line. That's up to go on the next years. Thank you.
Scotty Swaley volunteered to award the best on ground belt. This year, Alex has awarded the best on ground belt to Ainsley Ben Emerson.
Thanks for coming out. Obviously, we are going to thank you boys for being present. Cowboys, started off, lost our first three, well, that was very hard. So, top out to you boys, the coaching staff, and all the boys that are coming out. So, hands up to everyone and let's go there, boys.
And all the names of those who thought 30 words on behalf of yourself.
Good for a right day club and certainly celebrate well. The proof for the Eastlake boys in really good afterwards. They've got right in the last couple of years. Congratulations for that. the two-time Warriors we get and Leeds and overtime. Thank you very much for a great service to the Eastlake Footy Club and for the half-time final, which is 1 year old. So our boys, it's fantastic. We've got a great board, the boys are really well, we've got a nose that it's easy to succeed with leadership top, and I'm really proud day for the club. Winning 3 in a row is fantastic, and we'll go back to Ainsley. Thank you all our supporters, all our staff, so well looked after with our resources and everything, so it's just a great day. I'm just stoked that it's really won. So enjoy, and we'll see you next year. Number 1 goes to Scotty Sinowitz. Number 2 goes to a great little rover, William O'Neill. Number 3 goes to the superstar, Nick Payne. Number 4 goes to William Griffiths. Number 5 goes to little Tommy Powell. Number 7 goes to Huey Phillips. Number 10 goes to Nelson Foley. Number 11 goes to the big man Josh Maynard. Number 12 goes to the new junior high, Stephen Camp. Number 13 goes to Jesse Costigan. Number 14 goes to Brother Jimmy Jefferson. Number 16 goes to Simon Horner. Number 17 goes to Nicholas Hernandez Salta. Number 18 goes to the Tigers around the ground, Jeremy Hurst. Number 29 goes to Cam Hurst. Number 34 goes to our man Jack Kuzza. Number 52 goes to Maxie Richardson. Number 58 goes to the white man, Dan Leonard. Number 20 goes to little Josh Taylor. And the next 2 go to our 2 McCubbins. Firstly, Aaron Wiles. Followed by number 19, Hayden Armstrong. And our other co-captain, Henry Dowles.
Double round of the Jack Gordon, Chris and Walter and Henry Dowles. Congratulations, Ainsley.